let's do a cheers to the Sobeys and Safer Liquid Beer Release podcast.
Be right again.
I love you guys.
Careful, that cake's hot.
Check-in, come on, let's go. It's the AM Nasty Big Hello.
Hello!
It's not static, AM radio.
It's the Cool Ben Red Hot Nielson Show. Let's go. Everybody's tuning in, even my wife.
Mommy likes too.
And those Macromala intros are cutting like a knife. Hey, it's Mitch texting in, he's your dealer for life. Let's crack at 6 o'clock and lager with some sirloin bites.
Flash them. We're, wow. Good morning to you. Welcome.
That's great.
To the Nielson Show.
Wow. Ooh. It's a good pregame. That was great.
It's
great. Wow.
Let's just take
let's take a moment here.
Well, I think this sums up the season.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. This is how it's gone. This is we've hit thresholds throughout this season with this team, and like we were mentioning just early before, I think all these questions, all the subtleties of was this team good enough? Could they do it? They were all answered last night.
It feels like they've won it. I don't know how much more you need to. Who cares about the Florida Panthers? There's no more questions to ask. They've slayed all the dragons now. Lieutenant Eric, Joaquin Gage, Zactigum behind the monitors. Good morning. Maybe a continued good evening to some of you as well out there. Still ripping it up, as you should be doing. Edmonton Sports Talk 606. You are tuned into the Nielson Show. No Dustin Nielsen this week. Joaquin Gage with me today. Jay Mail in for the meat part of the week. And I think you'll be, Friday, Thursday, something like that?
Yeah, something like that. We'll see.
We'll figure it out as we go. But, of course, a huge day here in Edmonton. The Oilers off to the Stanley Cup Finals. First time since 06. And I think we'll spend the entire show, obviously, talking about last night. I don't think it's too early to set up the finals. I mean, is it Saturday yet? It's going to be the ringing water cooler talk around the city. But.
Maybe we'll wait a bit. We'll wait till later on in the show. Let's enjoy the moment, just like probably most of the Oilers did last night.
Absolutely.
And well deserved.
You have to
go out for a couple extra tequila shots.
A couple Heineken Zero. No, I get the real one. Have a you know what I mean? Have a real one. Why not? You don't play till Saturday. 780-218-9999 Paris Jewelers inbox. I shook so much this. I haven't moved like that at this hour since the old place, and I'm feeling it. But 780-218-9999 is the text number. Paris Jewelers inbox, and the nasty chat is humming. We've hit some like thresholds before in this program. I know Dustin Nielson, a champion farmer when it comes to getting likes and the subs. We're already at 82. We're 7 minutes into the show. Let's see what we can do today. Let's see what we can do today. The Oilers are off to the Stanley Cup Finals. So let's see what we can do. 780-218-9999. Nasty chat is bumping. Lots of thank yous, lots of pats on the back. Congratulations. This is for you, the fan. The players obviously playing for themselves. It's I think a tight room. We go back to the game in Raleigh, Carolina, where Leon and Connor. I think this is a good show to talk about all these moments in the season, benchmarks that you can turn to. But quite clearly, this team has gone through a lot this year, especially this roster. But for you, the fan, lots of dark mornings coming in, 1260, black outside, minus 30. Talking about this, that, and the other. And you saw it on Twitter last night. Everybody kind of rinsing back. Shirelli's name popping up left, right, and center. And all of these things. And yeah, when you live through that many nightmares, and then you get the trophy that nobody wants to touch on home ice.
I was thinking about this last night because I've run into people in the wild, and the first things out of their mouth was, "Oh my gosh, I can't wait till Holland's out of here, and we can finally get someone to get things done,
get it rolling." And
I'm like, he's done. And I always ask, I always pose a question to these people. I go, "Well, what don't you like about what he's done?" And it's like, "Oh, well, Campbell," and that's the one he kind of missed on. But again, at the time, I don't think if you were to poll a lot of other GMs, except for maybe a handful, Toronto would have been one of them, I would have thought that was a bad signing for the Oilers at that point, right?
It's and so many moves. We even go back to this trade deadline and leaving a lot of people, disappointed or wanting more or whatever. And I think, too, multiple things can be true at once. It's fine to, you have an idea in your mind how you want this team built. The guy making the money has a different idea, goes out there and does it, and now we're here. And you were talking too off the ice or off the show, but when you were on the ice, it is a random game at times and a bit of a game where, look, this is a team that's been healthy all year. Certainly right now when you're heading into the Cup Finals, there's a few things behind the scenes, I'm sure, that are troubling some guys, but a pretty healthy squad all year long. The special teams, we can dedicate an hour to that today.
Gosh. Yeah.
So when those two things are clicking for you, the goaltending's turning on right now, and you've shared experience with a lot of your depth and Pickard as well during this playoff chase. So everybody's kind of, this isn't a one or two guys dragging this team into the mix, as a lot of people like to define this team as, but it's everything, and especially from the bottom up, the PK, Pickard getting some spots.
The way that everyone kind of started pulling on the same chain is what they say, right? Like just how you go from where they were and that the dark side. And I think I was talking to Tommy on air, and he was like, "I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs." And I was pretty much on the same line at one point.
Back in the fall, absolutely.
And I thought, you know what, they're too good. And even if just like Connor and Leon go nuts for the next 60 games, maybe they can lock down that 8th playoff seed and see what happens. That's
they'll come. Yeah,
that's where I thought that they were headed for, not what they were able to accomplish. And look, this. Ken Holland has done a great job, especially over these last 2 trade deadlines. I look at Corey Perry as kind of a trade deadline acquisition as well.
Sure.
Gosh, talking about him, how many finals has he? No one's played more meaningful hockey than Corey Perry, I don't think, in the last 8 years. It's crazy.
That's all he
does.
He makes a stipulation in the deal when he signs with you. You better be in the finals or else.
Yeah.
No, and I think it's nice to see RCN chiming in the nasty chat. They're winning in spite of Ken Holland. Which is an interesting take as well. And I'm sure, look, it's never going to be the book's never going to be complete on Oilers GMs and their jobs that they do here. They might win the cup, but they might do it in spite of the team building and construction. But RCN's opinions, again, I think RCN had the first person that I saw on Twitter over the weekend using the word aura around this team, that's what this is like now, right? Stuart Skinner, we've come a long way, baby. From let's be fair. There were a few nights where maybe you were left wanting a bit more. he's what a comeback during these playoffs. And him speaking about watching Nuge, this whole thing about, the past is now and the future present and all these guys that have been here a long time, then this new blood and they love each other. It's just kumbaya. The aura is outstanding right now. It's like looking up at the Northern Lights.
I hate to toot my own horn, but toot. I felt that the goaltending battle in this series was going to be a wash. I maybe a slight edge. I think I said slight edge to Jake Ottinger, but I didn't think it was a cavernous gap between both. And look, you cannot say, I don't think, until something really bad happened to Stuart Skinner, but he is an elite goalie in the NHL. For what he did last night and the timing of it, the type of play where
timing,
he brought it, man. I would say even the night the previous game, he was the difference maker. He has been the difference maker in both games, and that's what you want. That's what you need. And I'm very happy for a lot of those guys right now to answer critics, to kind of kick dirt in the face, cover home plate, so to speak, when the umpire's yelling. No, this is great. 10
shots on net for the Oilers last night, in which we will break down the game in a little more detail coming up with your morning after show. Let's just run down the program for you this Monday. Hey, happy June, boys. We are in June. Yeah. June 3rd, some playoff hockey in June here in these parts. Morning after show, as mentioned, brought to you by emutilitylocating.com. That'll come up kind of midway through the opening hour here. Good, bad, and ugly as well to take you through the opening hour, which we'll try our best to maybe go some other areas in the sporting world over the weekend. Lots actually happening, both local and international. Darren Dreger of TSN, he'll join us at around 7:05. He is our Hockey Insider, brought to you by Pro-Am Sports. Your next chance to qualify for a chance at a $100,000 hole-in-one or swing to win, which will be taking place out at the ranch. Your next chance to qualify will be coming up just after Darren Dreger this morning in hour 2. Your Cool Bit Canada hotline of the day, the Fan Zone for Fans First, in which we'll just take rapid-fire texts from you off last night and maybe the week ahead. That hurts as well. We'll round out hour 2. Hour 3, the final hour, kind of easy trivia, 3 questions too many. A little, that's good. I do believe we have a torpedo in the fridge. Maybe one? Zach? Yeah. Can you confirm?
I checked earlier this morning. I knew. I asked for it Friday. I asked Maddie if I could take it home, and he was like, no. Got to save it for Monday. And I said, okay.
It's a prop.
Okay. No.
Don't
it's a delicious meal.
It's very delicious. And now, since you didn't take it home, you get to enjoy this morning, right? We'll cut it up. That's good, around 8:20-ish. The appetizer to our main course, Ryan Rishaug from the Got Your Back pod. He will be joining us as well around 8:30, hour 3, and we'll wrap it all up with the wrap, brought to you by our good friends at William Huff. But as mentioned, get your texts in, 780-218-9999 to the Paris Jewelers inbox. Family-owned and operated, 22 stores in 4 provinces across Canada. You can shop in-store or online at www.parisjewelers.com. And, of course, your texts go into a draw for the A&W text of the day. The Whistle Dog is back. $20 to A&W on the line for the best text this morning. I really don't know the route. I don't know what you're going to have to do today. Of course, it's no Macramala, no kind of theme day, but if the Oilers are off to the Cup against a team called the Florida Panthers, who like to institute rats in their celebration and have a rat playing for them in one Matty Tkachuk, we're kind of paving the way for you to get that text in. So any sort of creative texts for the upcoming Stanley Cup Final, 780-218-9999 is the number to text, and $20 to A&W on the line for that best text. Nasty chat in Knob We Trust that comes in from Rip City Step. Looks like people are having a pretty good time in there. After tense negotiations, I successfully talked Westlock Sobeys Liquor into carrying birdie booze for the public to drink. Bought a bottle on Friday. Conch me, boys.
Jeez, oh my gosh. Slow on the...
That's okay.
There it is.
Smith TM14, great play. And if you are out on the hunt for either any birdie booze or the 6 o'clocker lager, and you go to a Sobeys and like, I'm sorry, you don't say, that's okay, but I want some. When can you get it? Just hammer them. Give them a little nudge, as you do. That's consumer power, baby. So you're calling the shots. Let them know you want it. Let them know they have to get it.
If you're golfing and you have the birdie blues, go grab some birdie booze.
One take. That's it. Put it on the commercial. I love it. Paris Jewelers inbox. Big Maple. The Oil go marching 5x5, hurrah, hurrah. The Oil go marching 5x5, hurrah, hurrah. The Oil go marching 5x5. The Panthers are going to get eaten alive, and they'll all go marching downtown to get on with the parade. Boom, 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 boom. A great little poem there. It was nice to see what other teams did to us all season, with the exception of the streak when the first shot went in against Dallas last night. McDavid doing McDavid things. As I said, I kind of knew Friday. To me, it was Friday when Broberg scored. Another thing that just
I rarely get up out of my seat for things. McDavid brings me up once in a while, but I gotta agree. Like, I was pumped when Broberg.
I mean, if Broberg's scoring, 2 or 3 games in now, and
this is another thing, probably more of a summer conversation. But I was making notes last night, mental notes. But I think the fact that you have 2 young players now contributing at a very high level between Holloway and Broberg. The naivete of a young player getting to the Stanley Cup Finals, thinking that this is just what you do. He doesn't know any different at this point. Moving forward with that kind of experience with younger players in the organization, that bodes well for. This is looking further down the road, obviously, but that valuable experience of winning and knowing what it takes to win. You can't. You can't buy that. You gotta. It's a value for the Edmonton Oilers moving forward, which is great. I think.
And not just following a group of guys either who, like, this is the kind of their first crack at it as well.
Yeah.
And they're, and the Oilers in this group going through the postseasons they have, and kind of, we said too in that Canucks series, if you go down here, it'll be a step back.
Yeah.
You made it to the conference finals. You won a few games. Now you're emerging from it. The progression, you can see it. And you're right, for a Broberg to be coming in now, or a Holloway to coming now, as opposed to a year or two ago when you're kind of still kind of wrestling with who you are and your identity. That's, you can't put a price on that stuff. You can't just go down the store and buy that type of experience. And that this, as I'm going to borrow from RCN, he said it, aura that this team is producing right now. So it's all clicking. And a question I might pose to Dreger or even Rishaug, like, what if you're in Maurice's boots? Like, what is the game plan? How do you stop this thing right now?
Well, it's going to be a different series, I think. Like, I found that the Stars series wasn't that physical, wasn't overly physical. A lot of skill, a lot of speed.
Yep.
I think it's not that the Panthers are a slow team, though, but I think there's a little bit more physicality, which, quite frankly, I think helps the Edmonton Oilers. The Edmonton Oilers aren't a small team that doesn't shy away from the physicality. I think that can actually it provides a little bit more juice in the series, I think. And the team that's more disciplined, I think that's going to be a huge part going forward, because now that we've seen that seems like the Oilers' power play is clicking. But man, what a series to win on the strength of goaltending on specialty teams,
Well, we talked, too, about this team of choir boys in the Dallas Stars who take absolutely no penalties. And this wasn't just a postseason thing. It was something that followed them through the regular season. And last night, Oilers 2 for 2 with the man advantage. Mm-hmm. Stars 0 for 3. So, I mean, you're right. If the Panthers want to get a little, and a guy like Tkachuk and a little hot-headedness, I mean, you could get into a lot of trouble there. Ask the Stars, who, again, are...
There's a song I can't wait to be played.
Is it Saturday yet? Right? We're all thinking it. But 780-218-9999 is the number to text. I know Atif, he has a Stanley Cup song. Atif, a few audio issues today, but what I'm going to do right now, because why not? It's Monday. Oilers are off. Say it with me again. The Oilers are off to the Stanley Cup Final. I mean, just tuck that in your pocket today as you make forth. But here's an Atif. It's called a Stanley Cup song, I think. I'll try to play it through my phone to the mic.
Okay, all right. Oiler fans, grab another shot of birdie. Mix it with some 6 o'clock lager. The Edmonton Oilers are in the Stanley Cup Final. They took down the LA Kings, Vancouver Canucks, and the Dallas Stars. It is now time to take down the Florida Panthers and the Turtle.
That's what happens, my phone died. But in a T fashion, though, that's what you kind of have to do, right? So you have to keep touching the screen.
Okay.
We'll start from the beginning.
All right. Oiler fans, grab another shot of birdie. Mix it with some 6 o'clock lager. The Edmonton Oilers are in the Stanley Cup Final. They took down the LA Kings, Vancouver Canucks, and the Dallas Stars. It is now time to take down the Florida Panthers and the Turtle Matthew Tkachuk. Oiler fans, grab another shot of birdie. Mix it with some 6 o'clock lager. By the end of the Stanley Cup Final, your champions will be the 23-24 Edmonton Oilers. The Stanley Cup will return to Canada after 31 years. Let's go, Oilers!
Man in the chair, Atif, who featured prominently on the broadcast last night in the little pre-roll or whatever it was.
His glasses were so dirty, they look like sunglasses.
I saw myself watching in his glasses on the
only
TV.
guy that can polarize his own glasses.
So that's Atif, Wheels, man in the chair. God bless him. I know he's probably still up, probably partying. Won't lie, this is better than that Rage Against the Machine knockoff. Comes in from Joe Balanesky. Oh, wow, shots. Maybe the production quality is the same, but we love Atif for what he does, and it's good to see him out there having fun yesterday down at the
Shale
pits.
Iverson says he's still drunk, too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a perma thing for old
What
Atif
work
here.
gets done here? What work gets done today? Is there any work getting done?
Well, that's just it. I mean, hit up some of our sponsors. We are live this morning, Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen Studios. Of course, you can go try the crispy chicken buffalo wrap. I know a lot of you, it's you need something to sop up the juices in that gut this morning. So crispy chicken buffalo wrap, of course, today from Popeyes for a little lunch. Whistle Dogs back at A&W, so hit up some of our sponsors today and get yourself right on this Monday. 6:24. Let's hit a sports update if you're good here, Zach, or we can do that. We'll come back. We'll have an extended morning after show brought to you by EM Utility Locating, in which Gager and I will kind of hop into last night's game. Oilers, of course, punching their ticket to the Stanley Cup Final, defeating the Stars in the Western Conference Finals in 6 games. 2-1 your final last night. Morning after show on the way. Good, bad, and ugly as well in the opening hour. But first, a sports update from Zactgum for Green Plan.
The Edmonton Oilers are off to the Stanley Cup Final for the first time since 2006. Zach Hyman scored the game winner in the team's 2-1 win to take the series in 6 games. Connor McDavid and crew start their battle for Lord Stanley Saturday night against the Panthers. As heard live on EST, the Edmonton Stingers won 93-77 to take their home opener against the Saskatchewan Rattlers. They look to keep their undefeated streak alive tomorrow when they face the Vancouver Bandits at 7. Get all the action right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Listen on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, or on our website at edmontonsportstalk.com. In baseball, the Riverhawks lost 14-13 against the Bellingham Bells. Their next game goes tomorrow night as they meet the Ridgefield Raptors. Back in the world of hockey, the Saginaw Spirit have won their very first Memorial Cup. Montreal Canadiens prospect Owen Beck was named the tournament MVP. In MLB action yesterday, the Blue Jays won 5-4 against the Pirates. The Jays are back on the mound tonight against the Orioles just after 5. Scotland's Robert McIntyre placed first in the Canadian Open, finishing 16 under par. Corey Connors placed 6th, while his countryman Mackenzie Hughes tied for 7th. This sports update is brought to you by Green Plan, providing you with award-winning environmental planning and consulting services. Whether it's municipal, industrial, or residential, plan it right with Green Plan. Visit green-plan.com or give them a call at 780-455-4292.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
6:27, you are listening to The Nielson Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, the iHeart TuneIn radio apps, and as well on YouTube. Lieutenant Eric, Joaquin Gage, Zactigam behind the monitors. 13 degrees in Edmonton, looking for a high of 16 later this afternoon. And a few showers and risk of a thunderstorm later this afternoon as well. Hey, that'd be nice. An old boomer as you head into Stanley Cup Finals week here in Edmonton. That'd be okay. Your thoughts? Comments on last night's game, nasty chat as well. Send them in, 780-218-9999 in the Paris Jewelers inbox as well. It's time for the morning after show, brought to you by EMUtilityLocating.com. As Dusty likes to say, don't kill yourself, yada, 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 but EMUtilityLocating.com, that's where you need to go if you need any advice, digging, damage prevention, planning, design, education, and training, GPR and concrete scanning as well. You can visit them, www.EMUtilityLocating.com, or give them a call at 780-222-9497. Oilers off to the Stanley Cup Finals. They defeat the Stars 2-1 last night down at Ice District. Stars not going down with a whimper, though. 35-10 out shooting the Oilers. Albeit, I think the high danger chances, not as much as the 35 shots. But nevertheless, I think these are games, too, where you could look back and say maybe Skinner does let in a weird one or something happens where you're like, oh, come on. But he didn't, and that's good, and that's what we're seeing. So 35 shots to the Stars. You can score them however you want, but Skinner only letting in one in a tight 2-1 game in which the Oilers only have 10 shots. This is the defensive hockey we've been wanting and everything, right?
And even the goal that he allowed, it's a weird play when the puck comes off the boards like that, especially because you're usually out where Skinner was, and you can see his presence of mind to not go right back to the post right there and hit him and go in and allow one of those kind of awkward goals. Like he allowed for the puck to come. I mean, it was kind of a fortunate bounce for the Stars to come back on the other side of him.
You've mentioned sometimes, though, he does chase. He'll go the temptation or two.
Yeah, and he was just, okay, I can't do that right now, and I'll wait till then see this play develop. I mean, lucky play, good play by Marchment, out muscling. Boucher took advantage of the situation. But again, were the Oilers on their heels? Yes, but there weren't too many of those second, third opportunities. They were one and done a lot of the time.
They were on their heels because Dallas had to make a push, but I never really thought that it was that threatening.
No. I mean, there was a few anxious moments. Obviously, it's when
tight game. It's
they were doing a better job of getting it past the first checker, from the outside, funneling pucks through. Where I think the Oilers can do a better job of that. But look. It's to win a game like that on the back of your goalie. That's a lot of 10 shots. I mean, the goals were great though. Connor McDavid's goal.
Well, that's the big moment that happened last night. It's got to be that. It's illustrative of everything. Right?
Yeah, I watched that goal. I've probably watched it at least 23, 24 times now. I watched one just his feet, how his feet were his edge work going back and
foot cam. It was like Formula One.
Yeah, the car was properly balanced. For a lot. He had a lot of downforce on his skates yesterday to make those cuts. And then this is another thing I think that helped Connor McDavid score that goal last night. The fact that he's been shooting it short side on goalies a lot this year, coming in at that angle and then picking that spot. If you watch Ottinger, he is right up against it. He knows that Connor likes that shot. So the fact that he changes the angle almost, you can see it's oh my gosh, he's coming across. And he was so firm on that right side, I think allowed Connor to get that little extra drag where, in most cases a goalie kind of moves across. But I think he was able to get him static in that position a little bit more just because of the types of goals that he was scoring.
And all it takes is that one not move or one move to really get you out of there. Tanev had an assist last night, but even his movement since the boot gate, that was... No,
you saw him lumbering.
At times he looked like a container ship trying to kind of move around there.
I'm really dating myself, but if you ever watch He-Man as a kid, the cartoon, the He-Man action figure, he would come and run, that's how Tanev kind of looked,
A little rigidness to the scene. Heiskanen, a half an hour of ice time last night.
He looked dead.
He looked just
they
were squeezing whatever they had left. So yeah, I think it's got to be the McDavid goal. I mean, if you want to play along as well, Nasty Chat or Paris Jewelers inbox 780-218-9999. Zach, give me any thoughts on a big moment last night? Was it that McDavid goal that kind of stuck out and you said, okay, I'm booking my trip to Florida?
I think the big moment was just Stuart Skinner. Just the entire night. The entire night. Like, I don't know. He didn't let in really the first shot. He let in the first shot twice in this series, and he held strong, stopping 34 of 35 total shots in the game, and it was just fantastic.
We'll go to the super stat, and again, you could look at Skinner, 971 save percentage, as you mentioned, Zach, 34 of 35. I will choose and go again with the PK in a game that the Stars needed and one that finished 2-1. And I know the power play took advantage of its chances as well. I mean, slice it however you want. Special teams as a whole, 2 for 2 with the man advantage in holding the Stars 0 for 3 again. I've even lost track of the number. Consecutive what? We're into the 30s now, high 20s for PKs, successful PKs.
Yeah.
They can't be stopped.
How do you masterful.
Beat it? Yeah,
masterful. It's 4 guys working harder than 5 and not allowing. Like it almost got into the heads of the Dallas Stars too. You know, there was a hesitancy to do certain things. Like it's almost like no one even wanted the puck half the time. You know, like. Because they were there was no space out there.
I think Visually Better also said, like, deny the penalty.
Yeah.
If they're commenting and say, I don't know, I
we're
choose
good.
Because 5-on-5, you could argue, but it's a funny old thing right now that when teams do get in a perceived advantage, and I use air quotes, it really isn't in this case. So yeah, I mean, I'll go to special teams for a super stat last night. Is there anything that jumps off the page to you in terms of super or maybe unsuper on the other side?
Well, let's just go to the coaching. I mean, Kris Knoblauch, he pushed every single right button on the board, like on the massive board of coaching. The ones that were lit, he picked the right ones, and the fact that what he implements during the game works every single time. I loved because it seems like he's a quiet guy, but he is quite emotional. And you could see his media avail with the meat of the Edmonton media trying to get a few extra tears out of Knoblauch and just kept asking, what does this mean? And your family. And he was going into his whole story of his wife and putting her career on pause, which happens a lot of times in this business. And he's working for peanuts and just maybe something coming from this. So very, very cool success story for Kris, and I think there was probably a few tears shed in that Heineken that we aforementioned.
Well, the coaching change as well. I mean, that was obviously a big moment. It was a big day here on EST. We've been live here. We had just kind of gotten birthed into the local sports realm, and Woody Dunn and Woody. And it's funny because Woody's kind of the. I mean, he was memeable. He got involved with the media. Like he liked people knowing that he read stuff. Like he was live. And Knoblauch's almost the complete opposite in that. But it's okay. That's okay. You don't need a guy doing the memes and waiting at the bench and giving you the air quotes and sound bites. But Knoblauch, I think, just last night his picture with the Western Conference, the team kind of flanks it, and he's just kind of standing in the back by himself, not around his coaches or anything like that. And I don't know if you saw Coffee.
No, I didn't.
If you get a chance to look at that again, team photo, he is off to the far left, separated by about 5 feet, just standing. Everybody's got a cap on too, except him. And I just love it because he's doing the Kobe thing. Where it's like, what's somebody tell a joke around here,
But that's another part of the it's their players' moment too, right? I think there's a lot of that with this coaching staff. They allow them to enjoy the moment, and it's about them. No egos, and I don't think there's egos throughout. How can there be through the mud that this team's gone through? The Andy Dufresne kind of progression to the Stanley Cup.
Fitting that it's going to rain a bit today.
Just
go find a patch of grass and just lay down and let the rains kind of envelop
with a bar of soap.
Yeah, exactly.
And wash it away. But it's hilarious. It's really, really funny.
It is. And then you got Big Vinny D coming on the ice in his civvies doing the celebration. Like
my wife even said, "Who's the big guy with the short pants?"
The pointed shoes.
He high fives Skinner after every game.
Yeah, no, that's But again, scratched or not, right? I mean, that's still part of the team DNA here. And guys, now it's to a point where you've called enough guys in. If need be, they're there on standby. If not, you interchange them. Nobody's griping or moaning or complaining.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah. Koff looks like, God, what did I sign up for?
I love the energy there. Like, what? Is something happened? Like, what are we? Are you supposed to be happy about this or what?
He's just won too much.
That must be it. 3 stars of the game last night: Stuart Skinner, Connor McDavid, and Mason Marchment. Do you got anybody for a 4th and / a 38th, Gager? Anybody jumping off the page for you there?
Gosh, I just. Who would it be?
Hyman, Bouchard, 2 assists.
Bouchard was good, but I just Can I give it to the PK?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think
like that
just
answer.
going 3, killing off 3 penalty kills, and you get juice from it. Like that's the other thing. Like you killing a pen, and I think this was the kind of the fall of the Edmonton Oilers last year in the playoffs with that historic power play. It was counted on so much. And you could see it on the Vegas Golden Knights' faces, their attitude when they did kill one. When you saw McDavid and Draisaitl skate off, they were just dejected and just that we didn't get it done. And it was such a momentum swing. It was almost the point where, God, I don't want to see them get another power play because this is actually hurting them if things don't go their way.
780-218-9999 is the number to text. Hontorio Momes. Coffee looked like he was waiting for a parcel at Canada Post. That's an interesting, and clearly you've been there. I mean, that sounds like a little bit of a personal tale, Hontorio Momes. JR from Calgary. Hey, boys, PK has to be the story of the playoffs. Who do you credit this from the coaching staff? Cheers, JR from Calgary. I know Stuart's kind of got his hands all over that. Coffee is well involved, but I mean, that's a Stuart piece, is it not?
Yeah, and I think even Knoblauch said that he'd never really done that before. Like, obviously he had his ideas of it, or he's probably touched on it a little bit. But again, this is the part that I love about how he delegates responsibility throughout everyone, from the coaching staff to the players. Everyone has a role that they've embraced and run with it, and that's another part. Like, this is, okay, these are the guys. This is who's going to look after it. He's the Sven Gali of coaching, and he's just and everyone's taking this responsibility. It's impressive. It's impressive. 4 more to go.
Well,
it's and it's not going to be easy by any means. That it's going to be so much fun. I'm really the matchup battle. I love Paul Maurice too. He's great sound bites. I can't wait to hear his.
Oh yeah,
he's very complimentary to the other team and how he speaks highly of them and about his own team. Both coaches I'm a fan of. It's sad they can't give out 2 at the end of it, but only there can, as a Highlander once said, there can be only one.
There's only one Jack Adams.
Yeah.
In this league. Also at the PK, Morgan says some of the usual penalty killers, Ryan and Desharnais, came out of the lineup at points, and they still shut it down. And if you want to see a true team effort, that's it right there. And that, again, speaking to the depth and everything, and when you're cycling guys like this, and everybody's kind of happy, and the success is coming, that's a hell of a merry-go-round to be on, hey? Nobody wants to get off the ride. If you do get off the ride, oh, wait my turn, I'll get back on sometime. And it just continues to go. Downtown DD says, start of a dynasty, do I dare say? You said it. We have the receipts here, and that's fine. But I think no dream is too high this morning. So get him in.
Ian Ferguson on the Nats chat. Dallas got goalied, which is great. Great to say. And Paul Maurice in the Nats chat saying thanks. You're welcome, buddy.
Paul Maurice is in. I love it. As we bid adieu to who was it? Jamie Benn in there from last series. So Paul Maurice, welcome to the Nasty Chat. Fergie's prostate. Somewhere Dusty winced with that getting goalied.
Yeah. Probably. That's good.
Lobbyist says Coffee looked like he was waiting to order a meal at McDonald's because he refuses to use the kiosk. Yes. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's the way to text of the day. Your coffee. Coffee looked like blank.
Yeah, that's
give it in. It's fun. He'd have a laugh at that too. Why not? 780-218-9999. Stanley Cup Final, Z-Town Beatdown says, listening on the website, but logging into YouTube to bump those likes. Going to be a great drive to work in Jasper today. Let's go E-Town Beattown. Can we get a conch for old E-Town Beattown?
Yeah. Oh, that's the wrong one. Hey, he's a rookie here.
I love it. And people asking, too, about Kane. Now, Kane was in the post-game photo op with a huge grin on his face.
Oh, he just that hit kind of he opened up a little bit, and the old athletic pubalgia kind of flared up.
Flared up.
Yeah. It's look, this thing. I'm sure it was. What happened was it was kind of bugging him. It got to a point of, I don't want to say severity, but very uncomfortable to play with. Then you saw him take that time off. I think what's going to benefit him most, I'd be very surprised if you see him on the ice before Friday, right? It's all maintenance at this point. I think he'll be fine. But look, Evander Kane isn't the normal Evander Kane that we've been accustomed to in even last year in the playoffs. He's a lot quicker of a player, but he just, Cass could probably talk about this way better than I could, but you just can't push, right? I think there was a moment when he got caught by Lindell, and Lindell's fast. I think he caught Connor at one point. Connor was a little bit gassed, but you don't see that too much from Kane. And not that he's a complete burner, but he's a muscle car, right? He just doesn't have that extra oomph a little bit, but enough to be an effective player. He's going to have to be, because no one puts the old ball and gag in the turtle like Evander Kane.
Bring out the gimp, right? Hey? No, but that's interesting. But it's funny now we've gotten to this point where he's obviously dealing with that. What is it? The say it again. People love when you say
the athletic pubalgia.
Thank you. You got him. You saw what happened with Darren Dreger last week, and again doing too much.
Yeah.
And I think this team now maybe I don't know if they've learned it fully yet, but I think they're learning heading into the Stanley Cup Finals and coming out of this conference finals with Dallas is that you just. Sometimes it's just staying in your lane, keeping it simple, stupid, and just not trying to. But at this stage of the game, you are tempted to maybe do something a little extra. Maybe, my what
athletic pubalgia
is bothering me. It's flaring up, but I really want to go and make a difference. But I think now you've seen there are other guys. It's not just that we're relying heavily on Kane to do it all. We're not relying heavily on the $9 million guy on the blue line. We're not, and you don't have to be.
Yeah.
This is now a team that's kind of all pitching in from all different angles, and just go out there and do what the muscle car is designed to do, and then back in the garage, tarp over top, right? And let everybody else do the other heavy lifting.
And I think if I look at it, and I dabbled in the Eastern Conference, but it seems like Florida, from opposed to last year, where they were just hobbling in on, in wheelchairs and crutches, basically in that last series, they look relatively healthy. So I think this bodes well for the Edmonton Oilers. I think they're healthy as well, but just a little extra time here is a little bit for Kane, so to speak. Ekholm, these guys, Bouchard, these guys that have played a lot of minutes. That's another thing. Like when you look at the time on ice of these guys, it's amazing how that's been distributed, especially going late in the series. Mm-hmm. Like usually you see. Last night the bench was shortened at certain points, but the minutes throughout it was masterful.
Hayden from Warrenville texts in 10 shots to ruin a trip to Dallas, just like JFK and Oswald.
Was he going to Dallas for Game 7?
I don't know, but this is and he's sending it to Dusty for the Scalding Hot Takes performance a few weeks back. Ball for Hayden. That is an outstanding text this morning. 780-218-9999. Oh, the coffee texts are coming in, and I'm loving them. Coffee looks like he's standing in line to pay his car registration, knowing he also has to pay photo radar tickets at the same time. That's a good. He's got to get a business thing done, but he knows what's coming as well. He knows he's going to get that ask there. Lacombe Drew, Paul Coffey was standing there doing the math, just realizing that little bugger Bouchard is going to break my playoffs points record. And I like that too. That's not a bad thing. Coffee, the ever competitor there, thinking about his record and Bouchard's. But yeah, get your thoughts in. It's in just going back to, you're talking about coaching and just kind of, spreading this thing up and giving everybody minutes and giving their due now. And it just kind of feels like, again, so much of this team was always top heavy, and it's going to be a couple of guys dragging everybody else through, and it's a team of passengers, and it's just the two bus drivers. And it just seems like, again, and I go back to, let's just get into the good, bad, and ugly right now, actually. Might as well do that while we're on the topic. And my good's going to go back to Friday in that game in Dallas, to which I thought, I mean, again, once I saw Broberg get that goal, to me it was over.
Yeah.
I just, this illustrates what Gage and I've kind of been discussing here is, and there was some hesitancy and some, sickening thoughts, I guess, in the pits of some Oilers fans' stomach when you're throwing a guy like this. But Ryan Holt, who covers the Condors, had a tweet last night about all these Condors that have come through the system, and Broberg, the latest one, who have been playing very well down there. People have been yelling about them. Now they get their chance, and they make well for it. So, yeah. Just
on that, too, another thing, all these things start popping up in my head about the whole season. And when Kris Knoblauch first came and took over, I think it was our one of our greatest supporters of the show, Bob Stauffer, said that he was talking about the minor league team, and I think Broberg coincidentally went down at the same time around there, if memory serves me correctly. And he said, "Well, how do you talk? Like, what's your plan for these guys?" And he says, "Well, we're going to keep communicating." So it sounded like he was calling Holloway and Broberg while they were down there, obviously getting the reports and things like that. But I've never heard of the coach calling like their top guys on the minor league team to just have a conversation with them. And I'm pretty sure that's what he said he was doing. So, and they didn't. Well, he didn't know Broberg. He didn't. No, I think that he was developing this kind of relationship, even though Philip was down in the minors. So again,
it's one big team in a sense, right?
I've never heard of something.
But it shouldn't be like a B and an A. It's really just a continuation of sorts of your team that you can draw from whenever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my good, though, and I'll go back to the Friday game, Hudson's. West Edmonton Mall, Bourbon Street. Tom Gazzola live there. Belzy showed up. Lots of nasties. Jason the Acadian, his wife Andrea, Rip City Step, Vier Montenegro, Matt Iwanek, who stapled himself to the bar and wouldn't talk to a soul. In classic Matty form. Belzy again showing up too. Jasmine, we were doing a few tequila shots after the game. It was... And again, the Broberg goal, the Oilers, of course, winning that, coming home with the series lead. I think you kind of knew Friday night what was happening.
Yeah.
And the vibe throughout the weekend was one of which, again, you don't want to get ahead of yourself, but I think there are moments where you can safely say, yeah, I'm going to get ahead of myself here and declare this thing. And the Oilers called the series last night. You're good from the weekend, if there's anything else you're drawing from. Anything happened to you personally? I mean, take the dog for a walk? You get a...
No, we kind of just got the house more... summer prepared, I guess. The back deck's all sprayed off, and we got the little gazebo up. I actually watched the game out in the gazebo on the laptop, hooked it up to the nice sound system, and had it blaring in the backyard, which was nice.
Your own moss pit?
Yeah, it was without the moss.
I need to stain my deck here.
Oh, really? Oh, you're gonna stain it?
Is that fun?
No.
I don't need to wear anything. I can breathe.
No, you're fine. But just get...
Water-based, eh?
Yeah. I have some... I'm not a huge staining fan, but I went a little bit more and got the cedar wood, and kind of ages a little bit nicer.
Oh, see, I'm just moving in with the wood. The wood is here, and I have to just... But it looks like shit.
Does it?
So I gotta get...
Well, maybe I'll come by and have a look. Well,
you can supervise.
We can just have a discussion.
The bad from the weekend.
Fights in the stands.
Please, go off.
Okay, people, this is a public service announcement. Please enjoy yourselves. This is, these types of opportunities don't happen. Have fun. Like, the fact that you can roll around downtown and high-five a complete stranger is fantastic. It is great. But behave yourselves. There's no need for someone that's trying to have a good time to have to go sit in the emergency room for the next 6 hours because some jackass threw a bottle in the air or something like that.
Yeah.
Let's have fun. Let's act let's act in a way that we've been here before, which we have.
Yeah.
Let's have a really good couple weeks here, because all this does is bleed into a time that is in Edmonton is better than most places on the planet with our summers. Like after the game, walking around at 10:30 at night and the sun's still shining, and that afterglow of a conference final
Go
win.
home and fire up the barbecue
Come
or
on,
something. Hey, yeah.
Let's enjoy this thing. This is great. But stop the violence.
Well said, Gager. And again, a lot of fans maybe younger-ish, maybe haven't been there, but the organization has been here before, and you're repping the org. And if you see colors of orange, like get that in your mind. Orange, blue. I see orange, blue. No fight.
Yeah.
Like, just if you see the colors. Now, if you see a red, a yellow, a white, that type of thing moving forward here,
Well, this isn't Vancouver. Ooh, too soon?
Well said from Gage. Act like you've been there before, even if you haven't and you're young. But the organization has, and you're repping it. And I agree there. My bad is coming right now. Esteban Ocon leaving Alpine at the end of the season after a troubled start to the year in Formula One.
Yeah,
Because it is race week.
Yeah, let's now that we've gotten rid of the small stuff, we can realize this is a race week. We're in Montreal. This is going to be great, coinciding with game one, with qualifying. What a weekend of sports popping up! But Esteban's he's too aggressive, and the fact that he joined Alpine and him and Gasly. That if you haven't watched Drive to Survive, it's great because these two used to be friends as children and then started racing and hate each other. So they basically put two people that just hate each other together in the
teammates,
car.
Right?
Yeah, teammates. And every time they try to go, when they go wheel to wheel, they don't give each other an inch. And it was evident of that last race in Monaco where Esteban just was a complete moron and almost took out his teammate, who actually was able to get his first point of the season, which crazy.
But what now? Leaving at the end of the season, you still got a season to go. Like you still got half of a. This is gonna be fun.
It's funny that they say that because it's like enough's enough.
Yeah.
You know, and Gasly has been a hothead in the past, but a little bit more mature. He realizes where he's at.
But this is more than like a 2-week notice. You've got a lot of. There's gonna be some awkward team meetings and planning.
Maybe maybe they say that,
okay.
and then he goes on his best behavior because now he's got to look for a seat.
You're right. Yeah.
So I can't be doing that stuff because if I show I'm not a good teammate, no one's going to give me a seat.
Who wants a guy that's being jettisoned mid campaign?
Exactly.
My ugly of the weekend will go to the conference trophies. Can we stop this? Like, can we stop? We were talking off air, and McDavid had an interesting quote post game. They're like, "Oh, yeah." So did you? You didn't touch it, I see. Hey, did you guys talk about that before? Like, and every year, and I get the line of questioning, but it's just such a ooh wow. And McDavid's like, well, no, we didn't touch, but both teams didn't touch them, and only one can win now. So it's like, who cares? Yeah. So, but can we just? You mentioned Daly's out there. Like, he gets dressed up. He gets his suit pressed. They fly him across the continent. But they package these nice, expensive-looking trophies up in the big casing. I mean, a guy probably has white gloves. Why are we doing this anymore? We can zoom it. Can't you have the trophy on a Zoom, put it on the Titantron or something, and have it? I just, this whole song and dance of bringing it out, the teams awkwardly gathering around it, but not too close because you only get too close. Like, I understand they're not touching it, but you can still stand around it. I like how there's like a 5-foot bubble on each side. Like, there's kind of like this invisible. It's a weird thing, and it's kind of jumped the shark for me now. I don't know what you do. I don't know what the plan is moving forward, but to have these nice, beautiful pieces of silverware out there and nobody wants anything to do with them is kind of weird. And it goes against, like, the Clarence S. Campbell must be rolling in his grave.
Oh, I know. Well, I think it was, when was that? When the Flames went to the finals. Was it 2004 or 5? Jerome grabbed it and just went straight to the red dressing room, right? So, but then they lose, which poor Mr. Daly coming out and just like no one wants him, no one wants what he's bringing. Like he's like a vacuum salesman. Like just whatever.
I have this shiny Electrolux for sale here. But what's the bill on all this? Like flying him around and doing all this stuff for nothing.
Yeah.
I mean,
just you know what? Parade it out at picture time. Maybe at the finals, whatever. I don't know, but it's I mean, it's funny because it becomes a thing of who's going to touch it and who doesn't, and is that going to affect them actually winning?
Yeah, only one can do it. Dean's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would spit on the trophy. Wouldn't that be something? Hey, really taking the other direction. And Oil City Dynasty will win for this one. Tradition, Eric. That's why. So yeah, we'll end it there. Darren Dreger joining us after 7:00 here. He is our hockey insider. We'll do a sports update now from Zach. On the way, hour number 2. Darren Dreger, your chance to qualify for our $100,000 swing to win. Coolbet Canada hotline of the day, the Fan Zone, and that hurts all on the way in hour number 2. But ahead of Darren Dreger, a sports update from Zach.
The Edmonton Oilers are off to the Stanley Cup Final for the first time since 2006. Zach Hyman scored the game winner in the team's 2-1 win to take the series in 6 games. Connor McDavid and crew start their battle for Lord Stanley Saturday night against the Panthers. 25-year-old soccer superstar Kylian Mbappe is expected to sign with Real Madrid. The French forward scored 256 goals in 308 appearances for PSG and is set to receive a signing bonus of about 85 million euros. As heard live on EST, the Edmonton Stingers won 93-77 to take their home opener last night against the Saskatchewan Rattlers. They look to keep their undefeated streak alive tomorrow night when they face the Vancouver Bandits at 7. Get all the action right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Listen on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, or on our website at edmontonsportstalk.com. In baseball, the Riverhawks lost 14-13 against the Bellingham Bells. Their next game goes tonight as they meet the Ridgefield Raptors. Back in the world of hockey, the Saginaw Spirit have won their very first Memorial Cup. Montreal Canadiens prospect Owen Beck was named the tournament MVP. In MLB action yesterday, the Blue Jays won 5-4 against the Pirates. The Jays are back on the mound tonight against the Orioles just after 5. Sports update brought to you by the Sports Bar and Lounge at Century Casino on Fort Road. Your home for all the Oilers playoff action. Don't miss a minute of the Cup run. Catch all the action at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
All right, 6:59 here on the Nielson Show. We are cruising, just absolutely flying. I can't even look at me. I tried to pour you a cup of coffee and it's all over the counter over there. 6:59. It is Lieutenant Eric, Joaquin Gage in for Dustin Nielsen this week. Zach just killing it, annihilating it behind the monitors this morning as we are taking a deep dive into the Oilers advancing to the Stanley Cup Finals last night. 2-1 over the Dallas Stars, taking the Western Conference Finals in 6 games. Your thoughts, your concerns, your predictions, whatever you want to do. Tell us about your weekend. Tell us about Friday's game heading into last night because, hey, what a week it was, and that's the playoffs, right? It seems like such a long time since the media veil and Darnell Nurse's 2 to 3 word answers. But we are here, they are here, and they are off to the Stanley Cup Finals. And I think Gager, I don't know if Coach Mike here is paraphrasing you or not, but more flashing, less bashing when it comes to the fighting. But then the flashing, people want to see people want to see the boobies, and that's a little chest action. I know a little PG-13, but we certainly take that over the swearing and the blood and the fighting and the negativity. So yeah, if you're feeling like a bash, give someone a flash, and let's do it that way for the playoffs. What do you think of McDavid's suit game as well? I know a lot of people want us to touch on that quickly, but just before Dreger here,
I like the fact that he goes. Talk about it amongst yourselves.
It's so obvious.
I know. Like he's going, okay, we're winning with this thing. I'm not changing. You guys do stuff like that. It's good. To see him engaged on so many different other levels that he's probably, a very focused individual. But then to match I
love it.
Yeah,
from a guy like him, I really love it. And I love when he's posed the question. I mean, it's so obvious. He's like, well, I don't know.
Well, I always go back to those things. What is it, Bull Durham, where he's telling a Nuke that the rose goes in front. You breathe through your eyelids, or what? It goes through the hole. You don't mess with a winning streak, right? You're like, and that's what you do. You don't, especially with the stakes so high. You don't want it to come down to because you wore the wrong belt. That you feel like you can't play your best.
I do think the pants were switched up, though. I think somebody made mention that the entire suit
looked
was
like the same.
Was it the same?
I
Yeah,
don't know.
it could be. We'll see. 780-218-9999. Paris Jewelers inbox once again. Path to text of the day this morning. $20 from A&W, probably involving the Paul Coffey image on the team photo with the Clarence S. Campbell Trophy, which was, we thought it was kind of, in all coffiness, it is kind of him, but standing 5 feet away on the edge, wondering what all the celebratory mood is about. Any word if they're going to move the Ryder game time on Saturday? Like how I said Ryder game, as the Riders do play the Elks Saturday at 5, and I think there was talk about that getting switched up or moved a bit. We'll keep an eye on that. There was some talk, too, of a CFL Grey Cup halftime performer being announced later today, apparently it's supposed to be a big name. We'll keep an eye on this. Lots of things happening, both here and afar, obviously focusing more on the Oilers getting past the Stars and this upcoming series with the Panthers, but the Stingers as well improving to 3-0. They are the only undefeated team in the CEBL as they took on the only other undefeated team yesterday in the Saskatchewan Rattlers, and it was a game you heard live here on Edmonton Sports Talk. So good on the Stingers. They are back in action once again on June 9th as they'll be hosting Niagara. Tip-off 4 o'clock, and we'll have that game for you live here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Joining us right now, without any further ado, he is on deck, TSN's Darren Dreger. We appreciate his time as always, and as always, our hockey insiders and analysts are brought to you by Pro-Am Sports. Gear up for game day with Oilers Adidas jerseys with on-ice name and number sewing. You can check them out today, Edmonton, corner of 128th Avenue and St. Albert Trail, or you can shop online, proamsports.ca, and as one series ends, another begins. This is a cup final, though, so I suggest maybe getting in touch with the Cooks and boys down at Pro-Am and getting some new cup final duds for yourself. Start at the head, work all your way down to the feet, whatever, but dress yourself up. Do it right from the great crew at Pro-Am Sports. Darren Dreger from TSN. Good morning, Darren, and I just want to say the Oilers are off to the Stanley Cup Finals. What are you thinking here? What comes to your mind? What's the mood?
Well, what comes to mind is the dancing in the streets and everything that went into last night. So we're locked in studio in Toronto last night doing our what we call the hot zone. It's just a live post game, right? And it was myself and James Duthie and Carlo Koliakovo. Who else was in there with us? Marty Biron. Of course, you have to have a goalie. No self-respecting panel is complete without a goalie, right?
Thank you.
Gager,
Thank you.
That's what it boils down to. But, we're thinking about how Pete DeBoer is doing his media avail post-game, and those things are never easy for the coach that's just been dumped, likewise for the players. But all you can hear is the chanting in the background of go Oilers go and everything else, and I'm just like, holy smokes. I'll give this guy a ton of credit for being able to focus on the things that he wanted to talk about, but then I'm trying to visualize what it would be like outside the building. I haven't been there for a Stanley Cup Final. I've been there where it's been pretty raucous in the past, but I can't even imagine. So I'm looking forward to getting there for the final for sure.
Well, can I ask you, Darren, and we want to take this thing kind of step by step. Obviously, the finals, we do get a good week to kind of rest up and discuss this puppy. But what were your thoughts then on this series? And again, we talk to you guys once a week, and boy, how things change. I was just talking to Gager about the Nurse Media Avail midweek last week, and the universe is collapsing here. 2 games over the weekend, and now they're off to the Cup Finals. So, what are you kind of pulling out of this series with Dallas? Whether it's, the continued play of the special teams, both PP and PK, Stuart Skinner finding himself again. What is it coming out of this Western Conference Finals that the Oilers can now tuck away, put in their belt, take off to the finals, which maybe they didn't have entering this series?
That they're ready to win. And I'm not saying they are going to win, but they're ready to win. And I remember talking with the brass of the Edmonton Oilers, and the players would obviously talk about this. And, when they basically tattooed the logo of Cup or Bust going into the start of the year, there was some eye rolling and people are like, okay, come on, really? Let's just see how it plays out after 82 games. But now that they're there, you look back at the path that this group has had to take. You go back 2 years ago, they get to the Western Conference Final. They weren't ready. Colorado was a better team. Colorado beats them. Colorado goes on to win the Stanley Cup. Last year, they lose to the Vegas Golden Knights, and that one left a mark because McDavid, Draisaitl, and company, they all believed that they were a better team than the Vegas Golden Knights. They just didn't prove it in round 2, and Vegas goes on to win the Stanley Cup. So I feel like there's a resiliency and there's a commitment and maybe a level of experience in a layering effect that they didn't have that they have now. So they deserve to be in the Stanley Cup Final. But, I know what, we're going to analyze this series, well, because all we have is time now until it starts on the weekend. But we're going to just dissect this thing.
Darren, looking at, let's go to the coaches first because it's fascinating to me what Kris Knoblauch was. Every button he seemed to push, every decision seemed to just, he was knocking it right down, 395 down the power alley. Now, I'm going up against a very experienced playoff coach in Pete DeBoer. Now going up against Paul Maurice, two guys. Obviously, you have to give the experience side to Maurice, but another guy that hasn't won it. What do you see is what kind of buttons can Maurice push to get the most out of his team? I've watched a little bit. Yeah. It seems like a much more physical kind of team from the Dallas Stars. So it's going to be, I think, a little bit of a different type of series.
I think you're right. And I don't know if there'll be buttons to push or just on occasion he'll have to give that leash a yank, right? Because, we've seen that. And it doesn't happen often, but every once in a while, the wires will touch with Maurice and he'll snap on the bench, and it's just a wake-up call. They've heard it before, but they're not used to hearing it, so there's impact when it happens. And, look, no different than the Oilers or any team that gets to the Stanley Cup Final. If when you've got everyone playing in the same general way, then that's when you find your highest level of success. And I was reminded by Paul at the start of the playoffs, and it sounds ridiculously cliche, but he's like, hey, we can play any game you want to play. You want to get ugly in the trenches? Yeah, we're more than happy to do that. We can play that physical game, pound you on the forecheck, do all of those things. You want to play a more restrictive and structured style and a one-goal, low-scoring affair, yeah, we're happy to do that as well. One thing that Florida has learned how to do very, very well is protect Bobrosky, right? And I think that that's taken enough heat off of him whereby he stays, drilled down and will make the saves that he absolutely has to make. And some of them you're like, where did that come from? So I don't know if that's as much coaching as it is overall leadership. And this is the one thing I admire a lot about the Florida Panthers and their approach. It doesn't matter if you're Barkov, the decorated leader of the Florida Panthers, or you're a fourth line guy. They all play the same way. There doesn't seem to be a whole abundance of ego. They're just, okay. And was it Reinhart who basically said, whatever game they lost in the Eastern Conference Final to the Rangers, one of the two, where he basically said, look, one of our strengths is to dragging the series deep, because that's where we feel that we eventually will wear teams down. And I'm guaranteeing that'll be their thinking going up against the Edmonton Oilers. They don't think that they're going to smash and grind McDavid and Draisaitl and Hyman and Nuge and Bouchard out of the building in the first 4 games of the series. They don't believe that for a second. But I think that their level of confidence comes in their belief that they will be able to do it when it gets to Game 6 or that Game 7 scenario.
So when another kind of thing I'm looking forward to in the next series, I mean, with Connor McDavid, you kind of look to the big dogs, and going through Danault in the first series, Lindholm, probably TJ Miller in the second, and now like Sagan and partially Rupe Hintz in the third. Yeah. But now we get something that I've been looking forward to is Alex Barkov going up against Connor McDavid, and these are two titans. Barkov doesn't get enough credit for what a great player he became. What do you see in that type of battle? And do you think that's the kind of matchup that Maurice would kind of be looking for in the next series?
I do, and the matchup series is what I'm looking forward to. Just defensively, how they shape up. He's got 3 pairings in Florida that are perfectly suited for the roles that they're going to play. Their third pairing, shutdown pairing, they're good with that. No problem. Gus Forsling, I don't know how many people would know how good he is over the course of a regular season. But then you see how Maurice leans on him in the playoffs, and you go, okay, I get it. Over a 60-minute game, I get it. I can see why they like him. But I was fascinated. Obviously, we spent a lot of time focused on the East here in Toronto, and how Barkov and Reinhart dispatched Kreider and Zibanejad. There was so much expectation heaped on the big moneymakers of the New York Rangers, and Artemi Panarin obviously is top of class there. But it was more about, how these guys got to find a way. Well, yeah, you can try. It's not like they didn't want to win. It's not like they're not trying to generate something in that Eastern Conference Final. But between the defense and the pressure applied, and the fact that there was no space out there in that Eastern Conference Final for those New York Rangers stars to emerge, that's all about everything that the Florida Panthers were throwing at them. So, the advantage that Edmonton may have is, Barkov isn't going to play the entire game. So if the matchup is Barkov versus Connor, well, then that is going to challenge, the next run. The player that I'm most intrigued with watching, and he's gotten healthier, and he did through the Eastern Conference Final, is Sam Bennett. And of course, Oilers fans are very familiar with him dating back to his Flames days. He's not the player he was in Calgary. He's a much better player in Florida than he was in Calgary because of the opportunity that he's been given in Florida. He's going to be a pain in the butt. He's going to find a way physically, offensively, everything to continue his playoff run here. But we had not an argument, but a disagreement last night. I want you guys to weigh in on this because we know that Barkov has won another Selke. And it's easy to not have him as a top 5 forward in the league when you look at McDavid and you look at Draisaitl and you look at Kucherov and you look at Nate McKinnon, you look at maybe Pasternak, Panarin go down. You can make a sound argument that Barkov is a top 5 forward in the National Hockey League, right? I mean, is that fair, or am I just...
Oh, no, yeah. It's too bad Dusty isn't here this morning because he's been singing this for years and years and years. And I think, but again, you're down in Sunrise, and sometimes, as we see with leagues and stuff and where you are.
So
but
good. He's so good.
Yeah, just great. I wanted to get your thoughts, Darren, too. I mean, enough of the top dogs here. Let's go down to the bottom 6. And heading into the Stars series, we were all told, and rightfully so, the Stars did have depth, point production depth, to which I kind of defined, and I think the Oilers' depth throughout the series really came to shine. We talk about the PK, we talk about the workman-like attitude of some of the guys. It's not flashy, it's not dashy. But it really builds from the bottom and works its way up to the Stars. So I just wanted to get your thoughts. We've gone through the tops. Let's do this bottom 6 matchup. Who do you like in this series when it comes to matchups in the bottom 6? Just stacking these forwards against each other, not necessarily one-on-ones. Again, the Florida PK right up there with the Oilers, only second best to the Oilers through the postseason, clicking at 88.2 to the Oilers 93.9. Not so much on the power play for the Panthers, but a good PK. So just want your thoughts on that bottom 6 depth for both of these teams heading in, and where would you kind of see giving the edge?
Yeah, I might want to give the edge to the Florida Panthers primarily because of experience. And Maurice isn't afraid to shake things up when he needs to. I'd call Vladimir Taresenko a depth player, right? I mean, he's a support role type of guy. I did not expect him to be as influential as he's been to this point of the playoffs. I really didn't. And we've all watched him closely. In his day earlier in his career, very effective in St. Louis, just eventually needed a changes of scenery. He gets that. Didn't necessarily fit in. He had his moments in Ottawa, but then he kind of comes around again more offensively than anything, and builds a trade profile for himself. And then you get close to the trade deadline and he says, well, yeah, there's a team I'll go to, and it's Florida. His family's living in the area, so it became pretty obvious what Steve Staios was going to have to do. But he's fit in beautifully. And lots of times those deadline deals don't work out this way. He's not afraid to muck it up. We've seen him block shots. We've seen him be net front and apply a screen. So I'm talking about one guy here, right? But really, you can look at both sides and give credit to the players, but to the coaches that put them in that position to be impactful. And it's impossible not to look at the penalty kill and how those players, are used. I thought it was timely and it was appropriate for Connor McDavid postgame to talk about, not just the penalty kill and its effectiveness. That's obvious. They marched through the Western Conference Final flawlessly. Just overall, the number of games they've strung together with a perfect penalty kill. Well, yeah, okay, that's about the structure that is employed by the coaching staff. But look at the players on that penalty kill that aren't power play specialists per se, and how they relish in just being able to do something that matters. Brad Treliving going into the playoffs said to me, we were talking about the Maple Leafs power play, and he goes, I'm not so worried about the power play. I think the power play is going to be fine. Penalty kill is a lot of times what loses series and can win you a series. And that was definitely the case in this one, right? The Dallas Stars just could not get anything going on the power play. So that's all part of your depth, your bottom six, and just establishing what you're capable of doing. And Edmonton did that with special teams.
Well, let's go to the battle in net. I mean, last series, I think most people were giving the check mark on the side of the Dallas Stars, obviously to Jake Ottinger. But looking at these last two games, I would say Stuart Skinner won that battle and was the difference maker, especially last night in this series. Now going up against goalie Bob, has Stuart Skinner finally put to rest the questions? Is he a big-time goaltender? And who do you give the edge to going into this Stanley Cup Final?
Yeah, and I don't know that there's an edge to be given here. At worst, it's a wash for me. Maybe a slight edge, to goalie Bob, because of the experience of this time of year. And he was a big part, even though they had some goaltending questions in Florida last year going through the playoffs and whatnot. Both teams are just so structured in front of their goaltending. I don't know. I mean, Gager, you tell me. The epic goal that McDavid scored to open up the game last night. I mean, come on. How many goalies are going to stop that?
What were you telling me though before?
What he did.
Well, this was my goalie theory, Darren, was the fact that Connor McDavid had scored a handful of goals coming in on that side on his forehand, going that short side shelf. And when you kind of really dissect the video, you see Ottinger really up against that post. And he makes that one quick power move to the backhand. It's very difficult for a goalie, to be so static in that position. Then, oh my gosh, I have to push over to the other side. I think, I wouldn't give any other player credit for actually thinking this way, but the fact that I watch Connor McDavid basically on a nightly basis doing things, maybe he was setting every other goalie up throughout the whole regular season for that special move. I wouldn't put it past him.
No, and then the Hyman play again, a perfectly placed shot. I mean, so I guess I was, and I'm not hanging this on Oettinger even a little bit. What the Oilers finished with 10 shots last night?
Yeah.
Something like around 10 shots. Like, I mean, you gotta feel, if you're Pete DeBoer and the Dallas Stars, like you did everything but find a way to get to Stu Skinner. Well, Stu Skinner at least deserves that level of respect, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, the Dallas Stars, they put a ton of pressure on him in Game 6. They did. They had their chances. They just couldn't capitalize. They couldn't find a way to get it done. So, yeah, when you look ahead in the series, I know the scouting report, as basic as it was, actually worked out for the Edmonton Oilers on Jake Oettinger. They felt like if he was vulnerable, it would be up high. Well, both goals beat him up high last night. One was super and tight, and the other one was Hyman. They were both power play goals. They felt like, from a scouting perspective on Oettinger, if again there was another vulnerability, it was he doesn't like to battle through screens. He doesn't see well through screens. Well, okay, every goaltender, what do? You try and take their eyes away, right? And you try and get as much traffic. That's just a staple of basic scouting and success. But they nailed it against Jake Oettinger. So you know what I'm going to try and do in the next day or two, and that's going to find out what the scouting report is from Edmonton's standpoint on goalie Bob. And just to emphasize that here, fellas, we talk a lot about Paul Maurice because of, every media avail is must watch.
Yeah.
He's going to say something funny. He's going to take you to a place that most coaches won't take you to. You don't get that from Knoblauch, although I thought he was excellent last night. He showed us an emotional side, a personal side, and talking about the sacrifice of his family and all that. And I loved every second of it. But one thing I don't think Kris Knoblauch gets enough credit for is how he uses his coaching staff. We know that Paul Coffey has terrific influence on what the pairings are, any sort of defensive changes, or all of that. We know this. Mark Stuart probably doesn't get enough credit for his involvement in the penalty kill and all that. Glenn Gulletson, how he helps manage the Stars and the forwards overall. So it's not one guy. It's never about one guy. But the Edmonton Oilers coaching staff collectively deserves a ton of credit.
TSN's Darren Dreger, we thank you for your time, man. Enjoy the week. Should be a good one, and we'll chat next Monday.
You bet, guys. Thank you. Enjoy it.
There you have it, TSN hockey insider Darren Dreger for Pro-Am Sports. You can check them out today. Gear up for game day. Gear up for the finals with their Oilers Adidas jerseys, on-ice name and number sewing. Check them out today, corner 128th Avenue, St. Albert Trail, or online, proamsports.ca. I would assume the Cookson boys maybe have a little something for the conference finals win or heading into the Stanley Cup playoff series as well. So check them out again online. Roll on in, have a talk with the Cookson boys, see what they got for you. Anything special coming up for Stanley Cup finals, as we have a long week here until game one Saturday down in Sunrise. I know, Darren, look, we have to talk about the enemy. It's just what you have to do, and I don't think Darren giving them any more plaudits is going to go against the Oilers any so much or affect their play, nor should it. I think we're all past the whole meat situation from last week. So, no.
Are we?
I think a victory lap for the local medias for waking this team up and carrying them almost, to the Stanley Cup Finals.
The old cattle prod media.
Give them a poke, right?
Yeah, the meat industry. It's big.
Tell me
right?
they don't know what they're doing. Come on here.
Well, if there's anyone you're going to ask about another team in the NHL, you want to ask Darren Dreger, right? And
especially for us out here in the West.
Yeah.
I don't have no eyes on the East, know. Lone Dick Veneret's out there, and he doesn't even pick up the phone anymore.
Yeah.
We'll do our, let's take a qualifier right now quickly before a sports update. $100,000 swing to win. As we will be qualifying another person. We'll actually be calling somebody as well, but that'll come. We can do that later, Zach. That's okay. But we'll take a qualifier right now. Text in a keyword, and I'm just going to find a word. Hop on in, Zach. What's going on?
I was going to say the keyword. I don't think you got him over there.
No. Well, you give me the keyword then. Yeah.
Let me find it here. Today is June 3rd, and the keyword It is for a $100,000 hole-in-one. And, you got to be on the green. Green is the keyword.
Green's the keyword.
Ooh,
green
nice.
is the color.
Yeah.
Green is the color.
Okay,
as
so
well,
text in green, 780-218-9999. And you might be the next qualifier. Of course, we'll be taking qualifiers throughout the day, each and every show here on Edmonton Sports Talk. We get a handful of qualifiers. We pick one randomly, and then we call that person the next day. So we'll be giving a call to somebody as well. Maybe we'll do that, Zach, however you want, because you're doing a lot of things back there today.
Vert for all our French listeners.
Le Vert. Yeah. I used to work with a guy named Trev, and we called him Vert because it was backward, the inverted, you know what I mean? Big green. But yeah, so text in green right now. You could be the next qualifier, and we will give somebody a call a little later on in this hour, whenever. I mean, it's okay. We got one guest out of the way, another one to come in the third, so we can pretty much do whatever we want now. I mean, the clock is ours. But we'll be calling another lucky person. We also got the Cool Bit Canada hotline of the day. Let's just touch on that right now, albeit briefly, as Game 1 Saturday from Sunrise is out. The Oilers plus 117 on the money line, so maybe a little road dog action there. The Panthers minus 137, over under 5.5 goals as well in that one. So you can head to CoolBet. Once again, they can be your partner for the Stanley Cup Final Series, as well as the NBA Finals beginning on Thursday. So head over to coolbet.com right now. Maybe get on some of that early action there as the Oilers plus 117 on the road, Game 1 Saturday down in Sunrise. Let's hit a sports update. If you're good to go, Zach, we'll get that, and then maybe we'll call a qualifier a little later on in this the second half of hour number 2 here on the Nielson Show. Lieutenant Eric Joaquin Gage and Zach Tickham with your sports update.
The Edmonton Oilers are off to the Stanley Cup Final for the first time since 2006. Zach Hyman scored the game winner in the team's 2-1 win to take the series in 6 games. Connor McDavid and crew start their battle for Lord Stanley Saturday night against the Florida Panthers. Wide receiver Justin Jefferson has signed a 4-year, $140 million deal with the Vikings. The 24-year-old will be paid an average $35 million per season, becoming the highest paid wide receiver in NFL history. 25-year-old soccer superstar Kylian Mbappe is expected to sign with Real Madrid. The French forward scored 256 goals in 308 appearances for PSG and is set to receive a signing bonus of about 85 million euros. As heard live on EST, the Edmonton Stingers won 93-77 to take their home opener against the Saskatchewan Rattlers. They look to keep their undefeated streak alive tomorrow when they face the Vancouver Bandits at 7. Get all the action right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Listen on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, or on our website at edmontonsportstalk.com. In baseball, the Riverhawks lost 14-13 against the Bellingham Bells. Their next game goes tonight as they meet the Ridgefield Raptors. Back in the world of hockey, the Saginaw Spirit have won their very first Memorial Cup. Montreal Canadiens prospect Owen Beck was named the tournament MVP. In MLB action yesterday, the Blue Jays won 5-4 against the Pirates. The Jays are back on the mound tonight when they face the Orioles just after 5. This sports update is brought to you by the staff at Park Mazda and Principal Mitch Lewicki. Mitch Lewicki is always thinking one step ahead, kind of like a carpenter making stairs.
If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki as a figure skater. He wears like a white outfit and he does interpretive ice dances to my life's journey.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
$7:31, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. It's the Nielson Show. You can hear us live, the iHeart and TuneIn radio apps, and as well on YouTube.com, where the likes are being populated. 393 already. And I haven't even asked. I haven't begged or pleaded or gotten on my knees as of yet, but it's good to see. We love all of you out there, and it The time is now. We've arrived. Again, we started the show. So many mornings, late nights, post-game shows, bad text lines, people saying things, tears, crying. I'm never going to support this team again. Blah, blah, this, that, and the other. Just the worst of the worst. We've all seen it. We've all been there. But now we're here. What a morning it is. The Oilers off to the Stanley Cup Finals. First time since 2006, which they will take on the Florida Panthers. Game 1 Saturday down in Sunrise. And as Petter's Pancakes chimes in the nasty chat, changing 400 right around the corner. And there it is. Yes, 403. This is great. Keep it coming. Hit the likes. Hit the subs. Why not? And we haven't even got to Shoggy yet.
My gosh.
That's usually when most of
the GYB bump. I love Paul Maurice in the nasty chat.
Yes,
says,
he's back.
If I have to answer any of Spec's dumb questions post-game, I swear to God.
Well, maybe a profanity-laced tirade might be on the way between Spec and Maurice sometime in the middle of the series. Who are you again?
I can imagine Paul Maurice in the I don't know, on the beach right now on his laptop, just monitoring the nasty chat. That's great. Good for him.
He's in there, yeah. Some cabana house or something that they're just cleaning down from the night before. They let him sit in there. He doesn't bother them.
In La Boca Vista,
yeah,
probably.
That type of thing. Yeah. Sandals, short shorts, the whole thing. Scuba Steve texting in 780-218-9999. Spotted this at the Birch Kitchen and Bar in Jasper this weekend. Absolutely loved my first 6 o'clock lager, Scuba Steve, and they have it on tap out in Jasper.
Wow.
So that's good to see. Love that.
Where in Jasper?
The Birch Kitchen and Bar.
Oh.
I think I have been.
I don't know if I've been there.
I think I have been. The name I never really associate the names. I'm usually having a good time in Jasper, so I never come and forget.
Yeah.
But that's great. So Jasper can get some 6 o'clocker suds. Gotta love that. And Dustin will be back next Monday. He's off for the week, so that's fine. We knew that going ahead of time, and no word yet on the Elks Riders game as well Saturday. But we'll keep a firm eye on all those things.
That's my first regular season game of the season.
I can't wait, man. I'll be there, and I will be ready for the dogs.
Stay tuned because I've got a special. I'll put something special out there to show what's available. So
you'll make us know, like Twitter, you'll announce it. I like this later on in the week. Hampton Steve chimes in with a Kobe GIF. You can text in video, audio, GIFs, pictures to the Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-218-9999. Mamba Mentality, boys, and follows up with, what a great night. Only 4 hours of sleep, but well worth it. Hope everyone enjoys it today, but remember, Mamba Mentality, job's not finished. I think, and there's always two things. Fans can fan.
Yeah.
And I sometimes have opinions on how fast, but I'm not a gatekeeper. You do whatever you want, right? Like, we can all have opinions. Doesn't mean I'm trying to tell people what to do. I think the fans, you drink it in. And I think, as you said, too, the players will take a time to celebrate, but I don't think this team is anti-Mamba mentality. Like, I think they're not going to get ahead of themselves with what they've learned so far. Now, again, this core hasn't been here yet, safe to say. But through the gauntlet that they have gone through the past couple of postseasons, you got to think that this isn't a squad right now that's going to get too ahead of themselves.
Well, yeah. Even the kind of celebration last night, it was almost, I don't know, maybe it was the old player in me, but it seemed like a bunch of guys that couldn't just wait to get to the dressing room and get ready, the job was done, so to speak. And what was it? Elliot Friedman. I mean, if you watched his availabilities on the panel there, he showed that video after the win down in Dallas in Game 6, where it looked like a bunch of men's league guys waiting for who's passing out the
14 people on lawn chairs. I think there was I'm paraphrasing, but
there wasn't a lot of rooting and hollering, and I'm sure they enjoyed themselves a little bit last night, and they should take a little step back, realize it, then reset and get ready for something else. You're always going to say that, like even Leon said it, the old cliches, you always say there's one more step, but that's really how we're thinking. And it's encouraging. I think the fact that it's weird to say, but all that heartache, all those losses, losing to the eventual Stanley Cup champion through over the past few years, the early knockouts, this is all that the cumulative kind of effect of that has prepared them, even though they haven't got to a final. I think they're better prepared where just from their past experience.
Yeah, like I don't think
going into it.
they need to get to the like now it's the final and now they have to learn how to lose a final in order to kind of get back. Like that step I think they can kind of they're not going to hop over, but I think as you mentioned everything they've gone through this. It's not like they're brand new McDavid, year 3 or 4, they did the 2 Cup final or whatever. They've had to go through this long gauntlet of just taking it step by step. I don't think getting to a Cup final is too big of a step for this group and what they've been through.
No, and even when I look at on the other side of the coin, if you look at the Panthers, again, I think limping into that final, being so banged up, and that's a different team too. Yeah, right. I think it's all. You have to give the edge a little bit because they have been there before, but it's not a cavern.
That's fair. And no, and it shouldn't be a cavern. And I don't think fans, again, if people want to give the Panthers flowers, look, it doesn't affect the Oilers any way or form. And in fact, it's bulletin board material. Let people pick the Panthers. You saw Wyshynski. You saw all of his American colleagues picking the Stars or whatever in 6. Wyshynski, public enemy number 1 in this market, but Furman through an Oilers dyed in blue and orange fan who's been picking them to succeed, and they just keep doing it. So, there will be some people picking the Panthers in this series, some people picking the Oilers. However they want to shake it out, it's not going to affect this Oilers team. And as a fan, I would just say take this week and love it and celebrate and live it up because we got a little ways till Saturday. But Zach, we do have somebody on the line right now. It's our latest qualifier in our $100,000 hole-in-one contest presented by Golftown going down at the Ranch. Who we got on the line?
We got Peter on the line.
Peter, how you doing today, man?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad. Have you gotten a hole-in-one before?
No, I have not.
Okay, well then it's all in front of you. Then have you won $100,000 before?
I've got to go with a no on that one.
This is perfect. You're the exact person we're looking for. This. What would you do if you did win and you got $100,000?
Probably go on a trip. I would take my wife and we'd go somewhere nice.
Somewhere nice. Do you have any sort of game plan attacking this one? A certain club? Any sort of cardigan that you would choose to wear for this event?
Something buttoned down for sure, and probably a 5-iron.
5-iron. Okay. Gager, would you like to know anything about Peter here and his
no,
quest for $100,000?
When you do eventually win, Peter, and managing the money, I know a guy. So.
Oh yeah. I've been heeding the Gager advice. So.
All right, sweet.
Love it. He's watching the Instagram. Peter, congratulations, man! You are one step closer. You're in the mix now. $100,000 hole-in-one contest presented by Golftown going down at the Ranch Golf and Country Club. Good luck, Peter.
Thanks, boys.
There you have it. Peter's off. He's another qualifier now. What number is he in terms of the contestants now? He should be 6'5" or kind of.
Yeah, I was just checking that here. Let me count once more.
That's how it goes, and Iwanic wants us to be stressed. If somebody gets a hole-in-one above Peter here, is she done? So once the first hole-in-one happens, so I don't know if you want to be closer to the top, you want to wait and watch people and kind of scout them out. Then of course there's the risk of somebody else getting it, but. As long as you're one of the 25 in there, you do have a chance. But congrats to Peter.
Yeah, he is at 5th, so I think that's a good
5.
spot. Yeah, that's a solid spot because I'm gonna be honest.
No, that's pressure,
and nobody's gonna. You can't think you're gonna get it off one, but who knows?
Imagine if there was 5. Maybe just split the pot. Can't you just split?
Swing big this Father's Day and find dad or yourself the perfect gift from Golftown. You can save big with huge deals on TaylorMade in-store and online now through June 9th. Don't miss their top deals like the TaylorMade Sim 2 driver for only $329.98, 25% off all TaylorMade bags, 2 dozen prior gen TP5 golf balls for only $80, plus much more. This Father's Day, give the gift of golf. Visit them in-store or at golftown.com for more details. Some exclusions apply. Golftown, your ultimate destination for Father's Day gifts. So congratulations to Peter. We had the word green. We will qualify another lucky person in, and we'll be calling another contestant tomorrow as well. Let's get into the fan zone now as well for Fans First. It's brought to you by Fans First Tickets, and By fans, for fans, no fees. Get your tickets for Oilers Cup Run at www.fansfirst.ca. And once again, the Fan Zone, all about you this morning. Look, it is a party atmosphere. I think people, for the most part, are pretty pumped up. I don't think there's any real... I mean, is there a concern coming out of this series to you, Gage? Or is there any sort of something, oh, well, they're going to have to worry about this, or the Panthers could exploit this? I find it funny that we're sitting here, heading into a Cup Finals, and it's pretty much perfection at this point. I just don't see where you kind of look at this team and say, Florida might have their number there.
No, it's... I was just looking. I wanted to see one thing. Corey Perry, he's the first player in NHL history to play in a Stanley Cup Final with 5 different franchises now, which is crazy to think. Like it's
never going to happen again. I don't know.
That'd be very difficult to do. That's crazy. Again, you always. I think it's important. Adam Henrique has been there before, guys.
Yeah.
That have been in a final that that you can lean on or pose questions to. But looking at the matchup, I'm sure come Saturday after the first period, we'll have some questions about certain things. But yeah, like you said, Eric, the fact that
I don't know, it feels weird saying that.
Well, right? we don't have anything. In years past, there was the times when how's Leon feeling? We do have the Kane type of thing.
True.
But again, the athletic pubalgia. With a few more days of rest, I think that's going to really help Evander, and the spacing between the games, I think it will be fine. But no, I like this matchup. You look at both lineups; they're both great teams. I'm looking forward to, like Darren Dreger said, he's looking forward to some of these matchups and what they look like.
Yeah.
And the fact that the Florida Panthers have that mentality of that crocodile mentality. They are in Florida, where they kind of get you, roll you around, and drag you down underneath, right? So, and I think the Oilers do the exact same thing.
Couple swamp dogs here.
You take people like Habib. Takes people into deep waters so they can learn something about themselves, right? So that's what other guys say. I'm going to punch him in the face. They say I'm going to teach this guy how tough he actually thinks he is.
And again, it is the Fan Zone. We want your reaction here. I know a lot of Kachuk stuff has been rattled in the inbox and the nasty chat. That too is going to be, and I kind of almost don't want to get to that too soon. I want to kind of let it. That's the big gift under the tree that it's either a biker or something, and you're like, I'll go through the other ones. I know what's there, and we'll get to it.
Kachuk is the brisket on the smoker going low.
We can wait. A little more patience on that puppy, and it'll be even better. Clay Weep says the stupid TNT crew all picked the Panthers in a cruise. 99 was the only one to go oil. Well, and Wayne lives in Florida. He admitted, so he's actually going against his. I mean, should it be a surprise who Wayne Gretzky wants or is cheering for? I think cheering for and picking who's going to win are two different things. Of course, we know where Wayne's going to go, but if people on the TNT panel want to pick the Panthers, I've said this. And I've been saying it for a couple of years. I think how this team is constructed, and you see it in McDavid and Draisaitl especially. They are the leaders. But you see it in their postgame or their media veils sometimes. They really love turning the screw.
Oh, yeah.
And especially like when things are going bad, they'll shut up and kind of keep it all in. But last night, I think, Connor was a little spicy. He was asking questions, asked for questions, or asked him, like, what are you talking about? You mentioning this? You talking about the season or whatever? And you can tell the spice. I like this team starting on the road. I like this team coming in as the betting underdogs. I love this team going off on the road and having all of America and maybe half of Canada picking them not to win. I think they act better when their backs are kind of against the wall. Not so much backs against the wall to the opposition on the ice, but to everybody else and all the noise and all this stuff. I think they love proving people wrong. Everybody does to a degree, but I think this team especially with the meat, everything involved, right?
Well, yeah, look after game one, period one. Everyone, the narrative, if you looked online, was, hey, they can play with the Dallas. Of course, they can play with the Dallas Stars.
Yeah.
This was, I mean, the looking at the NHL bracket, everything went to plan. Essentially, they were the best 4 teams in the NHL. in the conference finals, and now you have the best two teams in the NHL,
who knocked off the two best teams in their respective conferences in a sense. Like it's,
but saying that, if we go to the beginning of the season where no games are played, if you would have said Florida, Edmonton, Stanley Cup Final, I think you would get an overwhelming vote of yes
before anything
happened.
Yeah,
before anything happened.
Yeah.
So, I mean, half the panels all over North America were picking Edmonton to go to the Stanley Cup Final at that point, right? So, no, this is what was happened. It was, I mean, it didn't help the cup or bust. And then the start, obviously, that was kind of funny, but no.
But all that stuff is so. The documentary crew that you
gosh.
know is behind the scenes for this puppy, like the way the season started, you're probably tempted to just, well, we can pack this thing. No, keep the footage.
Yeah,
you never know.
This Skate to Survive series is going.
I tell you,
it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Dan Cole says the Oilers are going to do more than rely on the PP. They will need 5-on-5 production. Realista chimes in, the PP only just showed up last few games. 5-on-5 has been dandy. And that's just it, too. I think a lot of people are glossed over with the special teams. The 5-on-5, which has been of a wart for this team traditionally.
Yeah.
And again, going back to the depth that we were all told Dallas would bring to this thing, 5-on-5, again, it's not a screaming strength right now, but it's doing what it needs to do.
I'm trying to think who said that. I'm not sure. Could have the first name that comes to me is Darnell Nurse that said it, but you learn things about yourself and your team. That's what the regular season is for. Too long a period of time for learning. I think they should cut down that by a few games, but I can't do anything about that. But this is a point where Edmonton had great 5-on-5 play, where it outshined their power play. You know, their power play wasn't. It was still really good, but not as dominant as the previous season. So now you if people are talking about 5-on-5, there was a time when Edmonton was dominating 5-on-5, where it was almost we were talking about it on a regular basis, going, gosh, they're scoring way more goals 5-on-5, and we were more worried about their power play than their 5-on-5 play. So now you have a team with experience with success in all facets of their game offensively. Right, so I have no issues playing 5-on-5 against the Panthers, and the Edmonton can generate offense that way. Power play looks great. I think it was a little bit stagnant in the beginning of the Dallas Stars series, but then it started to generate chances. Right, maybe they didn't score, but they were able to keep that momentum. And then say what you want, the PK. And that one move that Coach Knoblauch does when PK's over and he throws out Connor and Leon, seems like that juice you get from the kill, and those two guys popping out, there always seems to be a good scoring chance the other way.
And I think you said it too, with everything kind of coming together at once, and the best time to do it. Yeah. You're not saying this is carrying that or that's carrying this and this needs to get going or whatever, but it's all kind of. Tell you, man, it's an aura. RCN said it. He said it first. I saw it. Morley Scott, as we know, covering the Elks for 6:30 Ched, does tweet out here about 10 minutes ago. Look for an announcement later today. Elks Riders game will start at 2 on Saturday.
That's an early start.
Not too early for some hot dog eating for me, baby. And
right.
that's gonna be a hell of a day. Like, that's going to be a day here for Edmonton sports. Elks Riders, Elks looking for a little revenge, obviously, from last season's season opener, home opener against the Rough Riders here. And, Oilers Panthers game 1. What other storylines do you want? 780-218-9999. I love this one. Who does it come in here from? And I just want to make sure I get Brent. Hyman redemption story against the Panthers, who drafted him and didn't see his potential. I love the digging for that one. So maybe Hyman's got a little something to prove here as well. I don't think he needs anything more to prove, really. I mean, the guy's been on a mission since Andrew Berkshire called him out, but that's certainly something to watch too. I mean, there's lots of juicy, delicious story ones. Quite clearly, the Kane Kachuk's going to take a lot of air out of the room, but I don't mind this Hyman. Little personal grudge against an org.
Yeah, no, that's good. You know what? One of the other major factors of just getting this week off, which is nice. I know I see a couple people. I got to wait 5 days for hot. This is ridiculous. is Jack Michaels needs to rest his voice. I don't know if you've listened to his call at the end. It's it was very enthusiastic. Just fantastic job by Jack. I miss the old days when going to hockey games and you just don't the old couple sitting there,
Montreal, right? Dressed up to the nines.
But then the headphones listening to the radio call while watching the game live, like that's. I love that. I love that. I remember my first game at it was probably Northlands at that point, I guess, and I was going to high school out in Saskatchewan at Notre Dame, and I came. My friend Shane Peacock took me and my buddy Derek Fisley to a game as little kids, and walking in and seeing all the. It was the Pacific Coliseum, but nicer. It seemed brighter and a lot more vibrant.
And did you have one of those like headset, like all in one, like the big old airport controller?
Yeah. Oh, it's great. It's just great.
Well, let's get into That Hurts. Final segment coming up here as we lead into hour number 3. Kind of easy trivia, 3 questions to minute. That's good. And Ryan Rishaug all on the way in hour number 3. But just before a sports update here, That Hurts. And it's brought to you by SBLLP. Albertans suffer personal injuries and accidents every single day, but many of you are too overwhelmed to seek the legal advice that you need. All you need to do is leave it in the hands of those who can look after it for you, the experts at SBLLP. The personal injury lawyers at SBLLP have the experience to gather evidence and advance your claim to ensure you get fair compensation. And the best part is you don't need to be intimidated by the process. Go to www.sb-llp.com. Click on personal injury or call 780-438-5281. No need to feel shame. Let SBLLP handle the claim. Boys, and Zach, if you wanted to hop in on this one as well, if anything hurts you physically, mentally, spiritually, or the other, my That Hurts is just going to be for the fact that we have this week here. and again, but maybe a good time, as you mentioned, Jack Michaels, let the vocal cords heal up. I know a lot of you, your livers out there, your hearts, your stomachs, maybe your internal organs have been getting the runts around here over these past couple series, and it's becoming thick and fast, a game every 2 nights, so maybe it is a good week off. But share your hurt stories through this Stars series. If you've been out in the moss pit, out at the bars or something, waking up. I know it's kind of been a competition this morning in the Paris Jewelers inbox for who's had the least amount of sleep. And I do believe the leader right now is a 2-hour sleeper. And who is that? Dudley, I think, comes in here. If you were the 2-hour sleeper, though, please chime in again. Anybody less? Hour and a half? Hour and a half? 1 hour. 1 hour of sleep. You got an hour here? Anybody?
No sleep?
No sleep.
How about no sleep? Not me. But no sleep.
You said it. No, but you're,
Oh, no, Tommy Gazzola. Get the wrench in there.
Tommy the wrench. Well, he was at, I saw a little Instagram live from Kelly's. Post game. So I'm sure he was out.
He was out for
dancing it up. The place looked packed. It was great. Can't wait to get back there. But what hurts for you coming out of the series? Is it the week that we have to wait? Anything else from the sporting world, I guess, if you want to.
No, it's
the Yukon news, isn't it?
I think it's more. I was more hurt that we didn't have a race this last weekend, and there's too much to look forward to. I'm not hurt at all. It's. I wish I was to add something to this segment, but
you call SBLLP and say I'm fine, and then you hang up the phone.
No, that's fine. But I guess it's the length of time between games. It would be nice for I don't know, maybe a Wednesday start, I guess. But
it's kind of what I was thinking. Wednesday, Thursday would give you a little lick your wounds. And
Thursday, Saturday, that would have been all right. But I understand it. It does give a little bit extra time to heal. But I don't like it too much. I think it was last year. Didn't the Florida Panthers have like 10 days in between?
That's too much.
That's way too much.
A week is good. That's I'll give it a week. And it's not like the momentum. I mean, you're going to the Cup Final. It's not like waiting around is going to kill your
But what do you think about the Super Bowl? Like that 2 weeks.
I hate that.
That's terrible.
I really hate that.
That's ridiculous.
I've never, because a week in football is now again it's a big performance. I get that, all the grandiose on the stage and all that, but no, I just let's go.
I mean, you were in a place for Super Bowl week, basically, right?
Yeah.
How?
Well, we were leaving just as it was kind of juicing up, right?
But so it still wasn't really fired. The week, you don't need the whole week, right? Man,
somebody does. Somebody's making the Benjamins.
The NFL needs a little bit. It's struggling.
You know what? I'm struggling, and I got something that hurt me over the weekend. It hurt my soul. It hurt my mind. I played my very first round of golf, and you guys aren't going to believe this. I scored at the Victoria golf course a 181.
Wow.
Yeah. I've been to the driving
in 18. Unbelievable. Play 2 balls?
I might as well have been. At one point I had to, I was hacking in the bushes, but I had to pull a Tom Brady. I had to pick up the ball and throw it because there's a crew behind us and a crew ahead of us, so we're like sandwiched in the middle. So that's my excuse for getting 181, and that was with extra strokes too, mind you. Nice. But hey, in my defense, I've only been to the driving range 3 times, and that was my very first game, and I didn't use that driver from Valley Village at all either.
So okay, well you're feeling good, like you're ready to go. Yeah. You went your Q school and.
Well, it hurt a little bit because I lost $20. There was a wager. We were playing in pairs, and my one buddy was like, hey, that guy is worse than you, Zach. And we're going to play against him and our other buddy who played college-level golf. So we were kind of, we were going to lose anyway. So we're just playing the game. And it was close for a bit. I made one good putt, and that was about it.
So you knew you were going to lose, but you still did the bet. Did you get hustled here?
No, well, I knew. I read the fine print and everything, and I went into it, and I thought it would help me. I thought it would give me courage and give me that drive to play better.
Money
but
on the line,
but when I have no skill, you can have all the drive you want, and it's not gonna.
Keep hitting the range, and then once we get into golf season, Zach, you're gonna find playing in these scramble tournaments. You're going to feel a lot better about yourself because you're not always going to use your ball, and you're going to get a chance to hit a couple nice ones. I'm sure you'll be able to do it. Just keep practicing, and we'll get you down to a nice 130 soon.
Next game I play, at least 150 or less.
All right.
Better than I could do, Zach. I'll tell you that. Good for you, even keeping score, to be honest. That comes in from Jeremy S. So... Will and Wolf says, Zach, the good thing is that you can only improve on that score. And that's a good point. I think that's a good lesson this morning, Zach, that you're kind of saying for the youth out there and everything. It's just, you throw your money in, you say, I'm going to bet on myself. Doesn't turn out. Well, only way up from here is up, right?
Exactly. Can only do better than I was yesterday.
What a great Monday motivation. Hey, I love
that's
that.
Great. I like
this
it.
is great from Zach.
Like
it hurt in the moment, and now you're healing, and you'll be better for it.
Perfect.
Hot dog. 758. If you want to play kind of easy trivia, please text in. 780-218-9999 is the number to text. Say, Zach, you're a great golfer and I want to play trivia. 780-218-9999 is the number to text. $25 to Mr. Mike's is on the line. They got the 6 o'clocker lager on tap. They got the Mr. Mike's burger and a great outstanding menu. But we'll have a kind of easy trivia from the one and only Joaquin Gage. That's coming up just after 8 o'clock. 3 questions too many as well for Park Mazda. We do have one final Italian Center panino sandwich left to go, and that's for the 3 of us here. We'll be splitting that puppy up for That's Good. That's just ahead of Ryan Rishaug from the Got Your Back pod. Shoggy will be fired up as usual, getting us set while recapping the Western Conference Final, and then getting you set as well for Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals on Saturday from sunrise, and the wrap to wrap things up for William Huff. Changing 500. Ooh. I got to say, I'm going to get emotional here. I think I'm going to start crying. The Nasties are coming to play this morning, and we're not even begging. We're not pleading. Haven't got on my knees once. Great to see. So if you are a regular listener to the show, whether it be the iHeart, TuneIn radio apps or at edmontonsportstalk.com, kindly pass on over to the YouTube channel. Give it a like. Hit a sub if you haven't already. And you can be on your way. Oilers are off to the Stanley Cup Finals. Why not? Let's get to a sports update from Zacticum. Once again, if you want to play kind of easy trivia, 780-218-9999. Text in, and you could be playing coming up next. Zach, take your away.
The Edmonton Oilers are off to the Stanley Cup Final, and Zach Hyman scored the game winner to help the team win 2-1. In 6 against the Dallas Stars. Connor McDavid and crew start their battle for Lord Stanley Saturday night against the Florida Panthers. Wide receiver Justin Jefferson has signed a 4-year, $140 million deal with the Vikings. The 24-year-old will be paid an average $35 million per season, becoming the highest paid wide receiver in NFL history. 25-year-old soccer superstar Kylian Mbappe is expected to sign with Real Madrid. The French forward scored 256 goals in 308 appearances for PSG and is set to receive a signing bonus of about 85 million euros. As heard live on EST, the Edmonton Singers won 93-77 to take their home opener against the Saskatchewan Rattlers. They look to continue their undefeated streak tomorrow when they face the Vancouver Bandits at 7. Get all the action right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Listen on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, or on our website at edmontonsportstalk.com. Over in baseball, the Riverhawks lost 14-13 against the Bellingham Bells. Their next game goes tonight as they meet the Ridgefield Raptors. Back in the world of hockey, the Saginaw Spirit have won their very first Memorial Cup. Montreal Canadiens prospect Owen Beck was named the tournament MVP. In MLB action yesterday, the Blue Jays won 5-4 against the Pirates. The Jays are back on the mound tonight against the Orioles just after 5. This sports update was brought to you by Clayburn Services. Take your career to the next level with Clayburn Services. They're hiring all positions, including journeymen, bricklayers, and apprentices of all levels. Take advantage of their outstanding mentorship program and work with peace of mind knowing they are an industry leader in safety. Visit www.clayburnservices.com or make it easy and give Jeff a call at 780-910-6728.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
.802. You're listening to The Nielson Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, the iHeart and TuneIn radio apps, and, of course, as always, visually dazzling and sparkling on YouTube. Of course, Ryan Rishaug to come midway through this final hour of The Nielson Show, and we got the Hangout coming up afterwards as well. Matthew Iwanek, Murray McCourt, your Monday people usually in the Hangout, and we'll have a little lock shop as well to kind of take you through the day. So lots of good programming here on EST to recap yesterday's win over the Stars and get you set this week, really, for the Stanley Cup Finals. Game 1 Saturday. Of course, we do have a bit of a change in scheduling. The Elks and Riders game that was originally planned for 5 on Saturday, moving to 2 o'clock. Probably an announcement will be made later today. That's all pretty much said and done, except for it being officially official. But we'll look for that announcement a little later today. Can tell you, though, the Stanley Cup Final schedule, once again, June 8th, this Saturday, 6 o'clock Mountain from sunrise. Game 2 will be June 10th. All puck drops at a nice, cozy 6 o'clock. The series will come to Edmonton for games 3 and 4 next Thursday and Saturday. So I think those are 2 good days of the week.
Yep.
Not to say it means playoffs every day is a weekend, but a Thursday and a Saturday, that's pretty delicious. I think you'll take it. And then we go into the if necessaries. Game 5 back in Sunrise Tuesday, June 18th. The one other game, Game 6 back in Edmonton would be June 21, another Friday. And then a final and deciding Game 7, June 24. That'll be a Monday. So Thursday, Saturday, and perhaps a Friday will be your home games here in Edmonton. Not too bad. And once again, all 6 o'clock puck drops for the Stanley Cup Final, which begins this Saturday, June 8th. Do we have a contestant, Zach? No, that's okay. Text in. If you want to play kind of easy trivia, text in. You still got a little time. 780-218-9999 is the number to text in. You'll be playing for $25 to Mr. Mike's today. That'll be on the line. Gager's got the questions as well.
I got him.
Do want to let you know that we will be taking another qualifier for the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival. We have tickets for that, a spot in that. So be by your phone again. I'll be unleashing a word a little later on in this hour that you can text in, and we'll take a qualifier for that. We did get Peter on the line. He was our latest qualifier or contestant for the $100,000 hole-in-one contest. And we did get the qualifier in for that, so that's good. Also, Stingers tickets to give away, a 4-pack of tickets for tomorrow's game as the Stingers are at home against the Vancouver Bandits. So if you're interested in a 4-pack of tickets for that, again, the only undefeated team right now in the CBL, sitting at 4-0, welcoming in the 3-1 Vancouver Bandits, Gagers Vancouver Bandits. Hey, I mean, that's your unofficial. Maybe you're a big bandit guy. Eh?
Always have been.
Mean streets of Kitsilano, right? Stingers Bandits tomorrow from the hangar. So we'll have a 4-pack of tickets, probably giving away a little later on in this hour. Who do we got, Zach?
We got Mark on the line wanting to play some kind of easy trivia.
Mark, this is great. Now, Zach, you've got the ticker in the Club Beat Loop remix? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you should have him on there. Hey, yeah. You let me know when you're good. We're in no rush here. This is nice. Hey, we got till Saturday to game 1, so we can really take our time. You can take your time with anything this week. It's kind of a slow week. Get your body right. Get your mind right. Right. Just ease into this puppy. We'll be good to go by Saturday. But Mark's gonna play today. Mark, how you doing, man?
Hey guys, Trainer Mark here. Doing good. I'm hoping with LTE on the dial here this week we have some CFL talk mixed in there.
CFL talk. The Oilers in the Stanley Cup Finals, but we can't talk about possibly anything else than that, can we? I mean, there was a Champions League final over the weekend. I mean, you got some others. I digress. We might touch on some CFL a little later on in the week, Mark. Of course, the Elks and Riders set to do battle 2 o'clock now, an adjusted game time for Saturday. But Trainer Mark, sounds like you're in good spirits. You're ready to go. Joaquin Gage will be asking you the questions this morning. Zach will start the ticker after he reads the first one. You need 3 out of 5, $25 on the line to Mr. Mike's. Are you ready, Trainer Mark?
Ready to go.
Let's go, Gager.
All right, Mark. Name a player who scored a goal for the Edmonton Oilers last night.
McDavid.
Who scored the nicest goal of the playoffs last night?
McDavid.
What team won the Clarence S. Campbell Bowl yesterday?
Not the Dallas Stars, the Oilers.
Yes or no, did Connor McDavid touch the trophy?
No.
This weekend's F1 race Grand Prix is in Montreal or Bruderheim?
It doesn't matter.
He got it.
Bruderheim, he's got it.
My name is Julius, and I'm your twin brother. I've been looking forward to this moment my whole life. Excuse me, but I was just taking a shower. Tell me a little bit about Vincent. Was he a great athlete? Was he interested in chess and poetry? My name is Julius. My name is Julius. My name is Julius.
You cannot come to my house. No, not today.
You cannot come to my house. No, not today.
Sorry, we were watching a video that's kind of popped up on Twitter and elsewhere from the Oilers in the stands and a certain fan, and it's just, yeah, it's something else. What were we doing here? Mr. Mike's, yeah. Congratulations, Trainer Mark. Mr. Mike's Steakhouse Casual, he's on his way, $25 richer in Mr. Mike's credits. It's the casualest place ever in the Hampton Inn, corner of 137th Avenue and Mark Messier Trail, and they got the 6 o'clocker lager on tap, so congrats, Trainer Mark. He's off to Mr. Mike's. A few audio issues this morning as well. We do have a few songs to play, but not today. We got a whole week to get that kind of out of our system. We'll have goal songs, cup cherries, all that stuff as we cascade through the week here on the Nielson Show. Sans Dustin Nielson, Lieutenant Eric, Joaquin Gage, Zach to come behind the monitors with you today. Once again, as I mentioned, Stingers tickets to give out later in the hour. We will have a qualifying word for the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival as well. But right now, and I don't think I'm missing too much, 3 questions too many, brought to you by the great staff at Park Mazda, including dealer principal Mitch Lewicki, who's already on his way down to Sunrise in a beautiful brand new Mazda. You can imitate him today, parkmazda.ca, or go check them out in the park. Park Mazda, your dealer for life. You can follow all of us online. I'm at Lieutenant_Eric on Twitter, Instagram at Lasagna Enthusiast. That's where the good stuff is. Joaquin, please let people know where they can find you online and elsewhere.
Oh yeah, Joaquin Gage 31 on the Twitter box or X, whatever you call it. Joaquin Gage on Instagram, and of course my business website, K4financial.ca. The letter K, number 4, financial.ca. Yeah, that's where you can find me.
All of your big winnings from betting on the Oilers when they were down earlier in the season that you're now probably going to get, ask Gage what you can do with it. He'll steer you in the right direction. Zach, do you have some socials you'd like to get out there while you have the stump?
Yeah, well, basically everything I got is Zachary HMK, just like Zachary Martin Hyman, same spelling, ZACHARY HMK, really anywhere. So give a follow if you feel like it.
That's Instagram, that's Twitter, the whole thing, TikTok.
MySpace, yeah, man. Everything. Reddit, no, I'm kidding.
Making it easy.
Zach's being nice. Follow me. You don't have a choice.
Kevin Zentner? Yeah, Zentner. I just started the stream and caught the LTE nipple reveal. What other sports talk show do you get that on? I did flash you all. Yeah. We started the start of the show was great. It took me about a segment to get my breath. I wasn't really prepared to get into that, but Didn't do a lot of stretching. You had to do it. You had to. We were feeling it, and
we had to go with it. Or bring it. We brought it on.
It was brought. Casino dealer Jay, haha, it's either boobs or a fight if it's in the 200s level. Yeah. So, again, you all know the video that we're talking about, and it's, look, I
got a funny story about that, actually.
About that video?
Well, no, not that video, but I was at a season ticket holder gathering for the Oilers. I think this was last year. And I was sitting beside, Keith Gretzky was beside me at the time. And a man popped up and posed a question. He said he was in the 200s, and it was a lot of complaining. Like he was saying people were too loud, people were doing drugs.
It's like tier 3 up there, eh?
He went on, and he said I could hear people having sex in the bathroom because the bathroom is right behind him. And Keith Gretzky leans over to me and says, "What section is that?" Sounded like a good section.
Hey, depending on your age and lifestyle choice, I mean, that's where I'd like to be, baby. That's where it's at. But you get the little ones up there, and so that one guy went like rose deep, hey?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah, the punch.
The one I'm thinking of, yeah.
I'm like, wow, how mad do you? I've never been that mad at a sporting event.
What? Like, there's so much going on. I'm like, what? Where's the?
We really need the cameras everywhere. Why didn't Kate's put cameras and microphones so we could have some of this stuff?
Yeah, the bathroom sex. I mean, come on, you're missing it's a revenue stream right there.
It's a paid subscription.
We do have some breaking news as well. The Jonas Brothers will perform at the 111th Grey Cup halftime show. There was the tease of a big announcement this morning. Some people thinking Taylor Swift had a bit of a break in late November, to which she was touring Canada. And there was a few open dates that I think people were locking in on. But the Jonas Brothers, Oilers fans as well, as you saw, they kind of provided a bit of a rabbit's foot for this team.
Yeah.
They popped up at a time and
they did.
Right?
Yeah.
They were there, they were watching, they were here for a show, and they watched the Oilers, and bing, bang, boom, the Oilers win the Stanley Cup Final. So Jonas Brothers, Vancouver for the Twisted Tea halftime show. So that's going to be something. Good on the CFL for getting these acts. Of course, 50 Cent also in Vancouver bringing the buzz for their season opener. So look, that's how you get the youth of today involved, and good on the CFL for doing that. But I promise, it's all the CFL talk we're going to have for the show today as we get into 3 questions too many. Question number 1, Gager and Zach, if you want to play 2 as well. What's going to be the major storyline coming out of the Panthers-Oilers Stanley Cup Final Series? I'm not looking for a winner, I'm not looking for a prediction, I'm not looking for anything like that, but a hot take on what you could see as being the big storyline either way. Is it the Kachuk, Kane? Is it Hyman getting revenge on the org? Is it a goaltending duel for the ages? Where do you kind of see this thing going? Don't need a prediction, don't need how many or who did it, but just a vibe.
You know how they always say that that you need to win the big one to have your legacy solidified? Mm-hmm. I feel that obviously it's going to go one way or the other, but someone in this series is going to put their stamp on their, a more of a maybe a Hall of Fame career. I think you're going to really establish this guy belongs in the Hall of Fame from this series.
And I just think looking at the Stars, they had a lot more guys to make that case than the Panthers do, right? Like, I mean, somebody said that hurts for a guy like Pavelski and stuff and the Bens of the world. I'm looking at this Panthers team, and I know we were kind of singing the praise of Barkov, but
I look at Ekblad a little like
but it's not like it's like diet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then Bobrosky, right? He's won. He's won Vezina's.
Some time for that.
It's
is it Kulikov getting revenge over the Oilers?
Yeah, the Kulikov.
Nobody's mentioned Kulikov yet. The prodigal son.
Connor Verhaeghe.
Yeah.
Who's the best Connor?
Oh. Look, yeah, that's an interesting one, and I'd give the slate to the Oilers if you're looking for legacy defining. I mean, the Panthers, and I know that this is a bit of a revenge for Cup Finals for them, and they want to, but yeah, Kyle Okposo doesn't really. Well, you laugh, Zach.
Sorry, that was a sneeze. No.
What do you think's the storyline coming out of this one?
The biggest thing is it's the 30th year. Well, not the biggest thing, but it's the 30th year of the Florida Panthers franchise, and 40 years since the Oilers have won their very first Stanley Cup. And the Florida Panthers, I mean, they haven't won before, so they're back in it for the 2nd year in a row. 5 straight years of a Florida team being in the final. That's big, but I got to agree with Gager. The biggest thing is the legacy game. I mean, the legacy series to try and win it all. That's what you need to be one of the greatest, be one of the legends. And not Kulikov or Kyle Okposo is really, ringing those bells for those names,
time.
right?
It's their time.
Yeah,
it's immortality, though. That's the thing that's why the Stanley Cup's the nicest trophy of all the major sports. I'm saying all across the world. The World Cup one is pretty cool, but
it's too small.
It's
Champions
too small.
League one is better. They call it big ears because it's huge. Yeah,
but what do you see when you look into the dressing room afterwards? You see everyone gathering around and looking at all the names, and to have your name alongside of some of the people that you've either heard about or were role models or said, I'm going to be like that guy. You just don't get that.
Question number 2, and again for both you boys, RBC Canadian Open over the weekend, an emotional final as Robert McIntyre winning with his father as caddy, which was kind of a neat story in that McIntyre called his dad. His dad was going to work, and he's like, hey, do you want a caddy for me at the Canadian Open? So he flies from Scotland on over, and then he's here, and it's a week, and then they won. And they're both emotional after the match. But I guess the question would be to both you, and Zach, this is coming off the heels of your, 181 game? Who would you both have if you were taking part in let's just say for the purpose of this, the RBC Canadian Open? Who would you want as your caddy?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Do you have somebody in mind? Would it be more of an emotional thing? Are you looking for like an analytic driver to get you over the line? Where would you go with this one, boys?
I think I don't look further than the man on my right. I saw you with the pom-poms. I think you're no stranger to not playing golf. Like, that's where you excel, right?
I'm great at it.
Yeah. So
I can drive the car. I can drink.
I think I have you beside me, Eric.
I'd take up smoking again if you needed it, just to judge the wind.
Get me through 72, baby.
I've caddied before at various 1260 tournaments in the past. I've went out and purchased with my own money the white painter's caddy outfit, and it's been great. So I wasn't expecting that, but I appreciate it. I will be by your side any day of the week or weekend, telling you how to play the cardigan off the jacket or otherwise or whatever it is. Zach, it's got to be Trev for you, right, or vice versa? Like you guys just.
Well, yeah, I'm seeing that in the chat. Joel's saying YTT and Zach Attack. I mean, I would have him as my caddy, but if I could pick a fictional character.
Oh, sure.
Right? It would be Trev 100 times over, okay. But if I could go into any world, any space, I don't know. I feel like Happy from Happy Gilmore would be up there.
Happy Gilmore to caddy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I kind of play like him. I might as well try and hit the ball like him. If he gave me his putter, I might be able to hit his shot. Maybe he's wearing the wrong jersey, but I could get over that. I could get over that if he gave me the right clubs to swing with. Maybe not get a 181.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the two of you can the friendship's already there. I think knowing each other. You also, the amateurness of Happy Gilmore would kind of, you kind of.
Yeah, I play along with it.
He's been there, done that. You can learn from the,
Yeah, and he'd tell me, I mean, I've played hockey. I've never played golf before, so I could maybe try and slap the ball like a puck or something. I don't know.
Him in a Bruins jersey, you in a Kings jersey? Or Golden Knights jersey or whatever, right? Are you going to be wearing any Panthers garb here for the final?
Yeah, no, not any chance.
I do have an extra small Panthers jersey.
Oh, really?
It's very tight. Usually playing lawn hockey, I used to always wear it. Wasn't scared of getting the grass stains on it. Joel says, I got you, Zach Attack. Everybody's bashing the CFL, which I absolutely love. That's what we should be doing today. Question number 3. You mentioned too much bashing, not enough flashing. Paraphrasing again. We don't need to be fighting. Fans need to be fighting each other. I know alcohol kind of comes into play. But I guess the question would be for you two guys, you ever been in a fight? Like an actual, I know you played hockey, and as a goaltender, I don't know how many on ice. But just have you ever been out in the wild?
Oh, in the wild in a fight.
Put up your dukes.
No, I fled the scene.
Good.
Yeah,
well, that's smart to be a smarter man, a bigger man, I guess.
There was no need to do it. So
were you kind of somebody like, oh, I know that guy. He's from the UK and he won the thing. Like was it one of those, or not knowing who you are and just
No, I think they knew who I was, and it was trying to get me involved in a altercation. So it was alcohol fueled
as always
on the other side, and I was just like, why do you want to do this? So.
I probably have a few too many times. Let's go back to like fourth grade or something.
You're training,
Fourth
aren't you?
grade.
Yeah, I had fourth grade WWE. I got suspended for 2 days, in school suspension. Worst time ever. I'd rather be outside of school. But wearing that LA Kings jersey, almost got into a fight. I went to go walk to the bathroom. I had 2 security guards with me, and by the way, I'm going to preface this and say
this was at the Moss Pit last year, correct?
This was at the Moss Pit last year, Game 5, Round 1, and I had to wear the jersey because I lost fantasy. Not that I wanted to.
No.
Not that I wanted to, but I wore a fake Dustin Brown jersey, for those who don't know. And, I put it on. I had people around me saying, yeah, you might not get some fair looks towards your end. And I said, yeah, okay, probably not. I saw one other LA Kings jersey, but I'm like, okay, I'm with a couple other people. I'm safe. I'm good. I'm just going to go to the bathroom. I'm going right over there. That's 20 feet away. I go walk. This guy starts pushing me, almost tries to fight me. He's got a couple, he's a couple deep, but my friends come rescue me. I was walking away from it. I said, hey, man, everybody love everybody, as Tommy says. And then
Is that what Tommy says?
that's what he says. Yeah. ELE, everybody love everybody. Yeah, so that was one of the major times. And then, man, I fought my friends for fun one time. In the backyard, just no mouth guards or anything. Just
no mouth guards.
No.
Do you usually bring one with you? Like
Well, I mean, we're training, right? Like backyard
okay. So,
MMA kind of fights.
Most people don't know you are a mixed martial arts. You are in training, correct? Or?
Yeah. Well, I take jiu-jitsu. That's more ground, like you hug people and stuff, basically. But bring them to the ground. But this time we were wearing the gloves, and it wasn't a smart time. I mean, my best friend probably is kicked my ass more than anybody else in my life. So,
but it's all for fun.
Oh yeah, all for fun and games. Smiling after.
Yeah. Give it a
of course. Yeah.
Watch the tape. This is great. Are you ever gonna compete? You've been training here.
I mean, I could. What? When am I getting into the octagon? Yeah. Let's set it up.
I love this here. I know we got a Stanley Cup Final to discuss, but maybe a summer thing to get Zach here. He could be the EST champ. Get him in some silk trunks or something like that. Hey, and away we go.
Yeah, no, that's,
bright pink trunks.
That's impressive.
Barry Backey says, if you want to fight somebody, fight me. I'm 40. I'm a man. Rip City Steps says, Zach seems like a lover, not a fighter. Agreed. You do have there's a bit of a boyish charm, but you want to defend yourself here. Like, that's why you're doing the training, right?
Well, now that you know the jiu-jitsu, that's all you need, right?
Yeah, I'm safe from everything.
Yeah. Nobody
I can stop a bullet.
But you don't use it. You just know that you can.
Yeah.
That's 3 questions for me, brought to you by the great staff at Park Mazda, where Mitch Lewicki also does have one Italian sandwich left over in his fridge, as do we. That's good for the Italian Center shop. And somebody's going to have to go microwave this puppy. I mean, I know it's tough.
I got it.
I don't want to put you out there, but it is we have one torpedo left. We saved it. Zach sacrificed his hunger, his body. He didn't eat it, and he saved it for us because he knew he'd be in Monday, and he knew to have a piece. The Spinelli Panino, a house-made baguette topped with olive oil, oregano, roasted red pepper spread, then loaded with a mortadella, capicola, Genoa, salami, and provolone stack. Available hot or mild, wrapped up in the deli paper for an easy grab-and-go meat for any occasion. Check it out, Italian Center Shop, West End today, or any of the other locations around Edmonton. I saw a lot of people over the weekend watching the games, digesting Italian Center subs in a variety of locations, both in their place and elsewhere, even outdoors in a wooded area. So if you are chowing down on those Italian subs, please tweet at us. We'd love to send Italian Center Shop some photos of what you're doing. And once again, if you haven't tried them, get them today. Hot or mild, Italian Center. About $10, give or take. Pretty great deal. You can slice them up and have a couple of meals over a couple of days with the Italian Center Panino. Just a few texts, 780-218-9999. Jackie Moon says, everybody love everybody. That comes in from Pizza Guy Justin. So Tom Gazzola again, taking other people's quotes and claiming them as his. VR Montenegro, is that Zach to come on the mic or Kimbo Slice with the backyard brawling? Hey? Remember that back in the day?
Kimbo Slice is a guy, yeah.
Backyard.
Legendary.
Yeah.
Legendary, absolutely legendary.
Dash in the Park chimes in. Zach is an exhibition MMA match during intermission at the Estes. Maybe that's an idea. Hey, a little mid-Esty fight.
I do it 3 5-minute rounds. Yeah. Let's get it.
Dudley in here. Dudley was on the 4 hours of sleep. And he also said, I've had 2 paninos this weekend, and that was good. Got myself a sandwich this weekend. So good on you, Dudley. Not sleeping, enjoying himself, partying as he should be, and just digesting those Italian center subs left, right, and center. JG on D, happy for the boys. Thought Henrique has been a stabilizing factor since he returned, and God love seeing Brown make the last clear in the dying seconds. LFG Oil, and that stands for Let's Fun Guys Oil. So we love that text as well. Brent chimes in, something to consider for the next time Zach golfs and beats 181. Chant his score and celebrate the way you do when the Oilers goalie had a huge save percentage game. Please keep us up to date on your golfing the scores and everything. We kind of want to chart this puppy, see if you're getting better or getting worse or whatever the case is.
Yeah. I gotta hit the. I might have to. I mean, our next guest, Rishaug, has a nice simulator. I might have to.
Well, you cozy up to him. Maybe nice enough. He might invite you over to craft your game or whatever. Is he in the bullpen? Is he? He's not checked in. Good.
No.
He shouldn't be. I just want to make sure everything's good on time.
Yep.
Let's hit a sports update, Zach. Is that cool with you? We'll get Zach to update you on everything going on. Of course, the Elks and Riders, that game has been switched. It'll be a 2 p.m. kickoff Saturday from Commonwealth instead of the original 5, and that's to coincide with Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final. So, Zach, sports update here brought to you by Big Mamas and Papa's Pizzeria, and we'll be back with some Italian Center subs and Ryan Rishaug from the Got Your Back pod, all coming up in the final half hour of the Nielson Show. Sans Dustin Nielson here on Edmonton Sports Talk.
As Lieutenant Eric mentioned, the Edmonton Elks are playing their very first game of the season this Saturday. It's moving from 6 p.m. to 2 p.m. kickoff ahead of the first game of the Stanley Cup Final, where the Edmonton Oilers are playing in the final for the first time since 2006. Zach Hyman scored the game winner to get the winner for 2-1 for the team to take him and his team, along with Connor McDavid, to battle for Lord Stanley Saturday night against the Panthers down in Sunrise, Florida. Wide receiver Justin Jefferson has signed a 4-year, $140 million deal with the Vikings. The 24-year-old will be paid an average $35 million per season, becoming the highest paid wide receiver in NFL history. 25-year-old soccer superstar Kylian Mbappe is expected to sign with Real Madrid. The French forward scored 256 goals in 308 appearances for PSG and is set to receive a signing bonus of about 85 million euros. As heard live on EST, the Edmonton Stingers won 93-77 to take their home opener against the Saskatchewan Rattlers. They look to keep their undefeated streak alive tomorrow night when they face the Vancouver Bandits at 7 p.m. Get all the action right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Listen on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, or on our website at edmontonsportstalk.com. In baseball, the Riverhawks lost 14-13 against the Bellingham Bells. Their next game goes tonight as they meet the Ridgefield Raptors. Back in the world of hockey, the Saginaw Spirit have won the Memorial Cup. Montreal Canadiens prospect Owen Beck was named the tournament MVP. In MLB action, the Blue Jays won 5-4 against the Pirates. The Jays are back on the mound tonight against the Orioles just after 5. Sports update brought to you by Big Mama's and Papa's Pizzeria. BMPP is a real pizzeria restaurant, not just a delivery chain, serving authentic Italian cuisine with their made in-house pizza dough, traditional tomato sauce, and fresh toppings. Each pizza is cooked with perfection. A pizza experience you've been waiting for. Visit them at 12848 97th Street or order today at www.bmpp.ca or call 587-746-0550.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
Sauced up. 8:30 on the nose. You're listening to the Nielson Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, around the world, iHeart, TuneIn radio apps, and of course, as always, on YouTube. We appreciate Zactum. He's hitting all the right buttons in the library. I'll call you Kris Knoblauch today. Hey, you're doing it all. You seem to have the touch with everything, providing us with the sports updates and everything else. And just a couple of minutes ahead of Ryan Rishaug from the Got Your Back pod, he'll be joining us to break down the Western Conference Finals and set up as he joins us once a week every Monday. And we won't talk to him until the series is well into it over the weekend, so we will set up Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals as well with him. But right now, and appreciate Gager as well, Joaquin Gage in with me this morning. The Italian center sub, the panino, the final sandwich we had in the fridge, and you heated these on the not too hot, not too cool. Can you please tell me the time? What were we using here today?
It's difficult, but being a master of the culinary arts, like I am, it's tough to figure out precise microwaving abilities. Everything's a little different. Yep. So I think I got it down. It was 30 just on reheat, and then 45 max power. Boom.
Beautiful. Yeah. I love it. It puts Jason Milne to shame. I'll tell you that much. No, just joking, glue guy. It's all good. But yeah, once again, get your Spinelli Paninos today. Great game day snack, or carry you through the week here as well, as you look to heal up as well from a fan point of view, and sop up all that extra liquid that's been brewing around in your stomach. But I know Ryan Rishaug's been getting some praise here in the nasty chat. Pinner's Pancakes, congrats to Rishaug as GYB Got Your Back had 1,000 in attendance late last night. Of course, their post-game coverage as well. But without any further ado, looks like Shoggy's on deck. Let's hit the music.
Whoops. That's not it. Why isn't that it?
It's one of those.
I don't think I have it.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Mandate yours?
Yeah.
Good question. Can some of it be
rookie?
Midway through.
Yeah. All he needs to do is just get in front of people and state his case. If they had the mandate from the people, blah, 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 I don't know where that information came from, but I would question it.
Time for the morning mandate with Ryan Rishaug.
This is what sports broadcasting is all about.
You know what? That may be a good point, Ryan. You broke the story, Ryan.
Rishaug is one giant 6'2" pile of Charmin.
Shoggy, it's great to see you this morning. The only better thing would be if you're in studio enjoying one of these Italian center sandwiches with us, but maybe another time.
Look good, boys. Those look good. Some quality. And, normally early morning might not be kind of the prime time for that sort of thing.
I get it.
I've had them.
Yep.
Any time of day, you can go with those bad boys. Any time of day, night, morning, first thing in the morning, after a nap, before dinner, right after dinner, as your lunch, pre-lunch brunch. They work.
Great meat inside those sandwiches. Hey, Shoggy. People are asking.
Meat in there.
People are asking. Jill, and we'll just get to the nasty chat. Have a little fun here. Ask Rishaug, is he cheering for the Oilers yet?
No, I don't cheer. That's not a thing.
I love it.
Sorry, I know it drives my family nuts too. People don't get it. Sorry, I don't cheer. I mean, I'm really happy for hockey fans in Edmonton. I'm happy for listeners and viewers. I'm happy for my family. I'm happy for everybody. And I think it's going to be fun. So I'll be able to enjoy the hockey. But no, I don't cheer. I don't. Sorry.
You know how the sausage is made. You know how the sausage is made, and you don't have to
host. Yeah,
enjoy
exactly.
sausage. Right.
Yes.
So, and I don't think anybody, and again, just because Ryan's not front and center with the pom-poms and lifting his shirt up in section 200 doesn't mean you can't. You know what I'm saying? You can all cheer. If Ryan isn't, it's not the end of the world. So
I don't think people want that from me, do they? Like, you don't want that from me, do you?
You don't want that curse hanging around this team, right? Of your fandom. But where are we at? I mean, obviously, you were in the nasty chat. What did everyone get up to last night? Hardy har har. But what's the temperature? I mean, we talk once a week, much like our insiders and analysts every morning as well. And it's so funny what transpires from that one appearance to the next appearance. Take us back, man. I mean, we had that media veil. I know you joined us Thursday. Friday, you go down to Dallas. Broberg gets the goal. It was then where I kind of thought, okay, this thing's got something to it. They get the win in Dallas. You come back here. I really had no aura of anybody saying, oh, well, like no nerves, which is so weird in this market to have no nerves. So how did this all happen? How did we kind of get here from this series in Dallas? And, can they be stopped?
Well, I mean, yeah. So I mean, there's a lot to unpack from what happened in this series, but really the jumping off point, I think, is down 2-0 in game 4.
Yep.
And for them to have mounted that comeback the way they did, that was just series shifting. I mean, that was the fundamental shift in this series. And I would say they didn't look back from there, but they certainly were looking back last night for about 50 minutes of play. Like, it's like they scored those 2 power play goals, and then I don't know, like I said last night to Onred, it's like they flipped their sticks upside down the rest of the game, Gager. Like they were just, I mean, they were chasing it big time. Dallas was dominant at even strength last night. But the thing is Stuart Skinner showed up, man. And one of the narratives heading into this series, guys, and into these playoffs, frankly, was that Stuart Skinner didn't need to be great. He just needed to be steady. He just needed to be good. And I called BS on that from the start. You don't get to a Stanley Cup final. You don't beat the Dallas Stars without excellent goaltending. This has never been about Stuart Skinner just being okay. BS. This is Stanley Cup playoffs, man. You want to beat these teams? You need your goalie to be excellent. And Stuart Skinner had to be their best player last night, Gager, and he was. And he's going to have to be excellent in the Stanley Cup final for the Oilers to have a chance to win. So raise the bar. Stanley Cup goaltending matters, and Stu Skinner showed last night, Gage, I called it a reputation cleanser. I thought that was a cleansing night for his reputation as a playoff goalie.
Yeah, I'm right along with you, Ryan. I don't think you get to the Stanley Cup final without your goaltender being your best player on a number of occasions throughout the whole process. But like you said, so has this last night's performance, and I even go to game 5 too. I thought Stuart Skinner was even more impressive actually with some of the saves he made in that game. But has this officially stamped Stuart Skinner as an elite goalie in the NHL with that type of situation? Your team goes up and basically, like you said, turns their sticks over for the next 50 minutes or 40 minutes of the 45 minutes of that game, and basically carries his team to victory. Has this quieted everyone wearing, okay, we have an actual number one guy that can do it when it counts?
Well, and that's the thing. If you think about what Stuart Skinner's reputation was coming out of last year, obviously he had a tough time in that Vegas series. There's no way to escape that. It just was what it was. The problem for Skinner was there was no way to fix that until the second round of the playoffs this year. Where you put, so the regular season, if he was a Vezina candidate this year, kind of wouldn't have mattered that much because people would have said, let's see what he does in the playoffs. So, he came in with that reputation, and, there were even some bumps in this playoff run. He lost the net. He won it back, and then he played great. So if you think about what his reputation was coming in and where it sits today, there can be no argument anymore in my mind that Stuart Skinner can meet a huge playoff moment. And that was the debate before. That was the debate. In the biggest playoff moment, how reliable is he going to be, right? And to me, after that performance last night, he was as beautiful as that goal was from Connor McDavid, he was the Oilers' best player last night. And last night, his performance won them that series last night. So yeah, Gager, I think this answers the biggest question there was about Stuart Skinner. Now, he's got to play well in the Stanley Cup final. He'll definitely be judged on that too. But to this point, he answered the biggest question that there was out there about him.
Ryan, you talk about answering questions too, and sorry, Gager, I just wanted to get on. You mentioned Connor McDavid, and another guy who I think you can certainly see, especially in the series, the growth, taking the question for Nurse, that type of thing. I've had questions over the years about the C and leadership and different guys. And look, we see with Knoblauch, too, there are different ways to coach or lead or do a variety of things. But I thought McDavid, we talk about depth in the series, too, and the Stars' depth, and I think the Oilers' depth, you've seen it on the special teams. But McDavid answering the bell last night, getting that goal, doing it in McDavid fashion. I just think the post-game, pre-game, his media veils, I think he hasn't really missed a beat as of late. And then, I don't want you to chime in on this suit game. Like, to me, he just seems like a guy that's really, really dialed in right now, and they'll obviously need that from the best player on the planet. But speaking of depth in this series, for him to kind of announce last night with that goal, and which Gager kind of broke down that move on Ottinger, Do you kind of get a sense too that if it's his time and he feels and is convinced in his mind it's his time, he's kind of unstoppable here?
Yeah, I mean,
now, we're getting like a supernova territory here, and I know he kind of may be a little banged up. You're later on in the playoffs. We all get that. Everybody's a little sore, but he really seems to be kind of getting into a gear here that we even haven't witnessed yet.
Yeah, so, McDavid could go supernova big time at the Stanley Cup Final. His first chance on that stage, could he just go crazy, and would anyone be surprised? No, but I think what we're learning is the deeper they go, it's not about Connor McDavid showing the type of domination that he shows at times in the regular season, right? Piling up the points in this way. And don't get me wrong, he's piling up a great amount of points here. But my point is that shift to shift, you're not going to see the kind of the domination that you might be accustomed to in the regular season. The hockey is a lot harder. Mm-hmm. You got to play the same team every night that gets a book on you and learns how to defend you, and they figure stuff out. And so to me, it's more about finding his, big moments. It's more about playing really good, steady two-way hockey, and then being ready to pounce when the moments present themselves. Yep. And the best players in the world have the ability to do that. So Gager, to me, I mean, McDavid didn't dominate this series. McDavid didn't go supernova and win this thing for his team. Connor McDavid was an excellent player on a team that largely rolled four lines, and he found his moments in critical periods. He was the best player in the world, which we're used to seeing. But there's a very realistic possibility that the Oilers, their path to the cup isn't just with McDavid and Draisaitl going out of their minds, that it's more about the whole team playing really well, rolling lines. Those guys will find their time. They will, and they will be clutch, and they will need to be. But I don't think at this level on this stage that we're talking domination. Maybe I'm wrong, Gager, but I feel like that kind of might be more what it looks like, what we've just seen.
Well, Ryan, there's people that say they're going to put a golf simulator in their garage and put their cars outside, and there's people that actually do it.
I'm living it, man.
They talk the talk and walk the walk. You mentioned it's a win by committee now, and going into this Dallas Stars series, the biggest question I think was depth. The Dallas Stars have all this depth. How are they gonna? But as this series progressed, I think that's what shined through. You just mentioned this isn't a team that relies on the two-horned monster to pull them through. It's win by committee. They're not part of the PK. That was a huge part of winning this series. We all know that they kind of see what people do say about them. But now that those questions of depth have been answered, and now I really believe that there's a belief that they can accomplish anything. The kind of questions are answered. Do you see? You talk to these guys on a regular basis. Did you see a subtle change in the way that they were, maybe just the physical presence or the way that they were answering questions? That there was now a belief that they can hang with anyone, or at least in this Final Four?
Yeah, I think they truly believe that. Like, how about Leon Draisaitl's comment the other day in Dallas, right? Yeah. I believe our best beats anybody's best. Like, this team has earned the confidence and the swagger that I believe they have. Now, they've also got the scars from, their start to this season and feeling it slip through their fingers. They've got their wounds from last year, not coming through in that second round series. They've got scars from the year before. The games were close, but they got swept. So they have some of those wounds that I think are that keep them honest and don't let them get cocky too much, Gager.
Yeah.
But they've earned confidence by being as good a team as they were this regular season, by locking games down defensively the way they've been able to, by those guys being, two of the best players on the planet consistently. They've earned the confidence that they have. But I like the way they're handling their business. So on the ice, they're winning their games. Off the ice, and I've covered a lot of Stanley Cup, Final Fours. I've covered a ton of Stanley Cup Finals. And championship teams just understand that all of the other stuff that goes on around them is just part of it. You got to just deal with it. You can't fight against it. And you got to just be willing to do it. And I have seen these guys, like, you would not believe the amount of media that Connor McDavid does post-game last night. It's insane. Even pre-game. And I see these guys, There's no little, fussing behind the scenes. There's no, it's clear someone's not happy to be like, they just do their thing. They're just locked in and they just do their thing. And that's one tiny little small part of it is those obligations. So I see a team that is ready for the challenge, accepting of what comes with it, doing and saying the right things, really, really confident. They're probably fine with the fact that most people are going to lean Florida's way. I'm sure they're perfectly fine with that. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think this group has matured in a lot of ways through this last, 2.5 seasons.
Gotta say, Ryan, I do love them being the underdog. I think that bodes well for them. I think they like that stuff. I think going out on the road, I just kind of feel like this group relishes that. Backs against the wall, everybody can pick them, whatever. Just wanted your thoughts before we let you go, since we won't talk probably for another week, travel dependent and all that. But your early thoughts on the Panthers? Of course, we all know, goalie Bob and all this and the big players. But how do you kind of stack this series up? What do you see in Florida, and what's kind of the scouting report there from the Eastern Conference champions?
Yeah, so I believe the Oilers lost both their games against the Panthers this year. I took a peek at that yesterday. Florida's going to be a bit of a different challenge. Like, their forwards are a little more abrasive. There wasn't a lot of, we saw Marchman throwing some hits. Jamie Benn every once in a while would try and line somebody up, but there was not a shift after shift mentality from Dallas about, really upping the temperature and the physical energy in the games and stuff. Florida, I think, is better at doing that. They're very comfortable, and that's playing to their strengths in some ways. Sam Bennett is just a nasty player to play against, especially in the playoffs. He always elevates. Barkov is generally regarded, even though he is so highly, talked about, he's still regarded as one of the most underrated players in the world. So him toe-to-toe with McDavid or Draisaitl, whatever the matchup ends up being, is going to be fascinating to watch. They're deep, they're physical. Blue line probably isn't as physical as what the Vancouver Canucks brought the Oilers. So, how taxing will it be on the Oilers' skill forwards if the blue line isn't banging and crashing? That'll be something to see. But this will be a stiffer test, I would say, a stiffer test. And I think the Oilers are going to have to dig in a different way to beat Florida than they had to dig in to beat the Dallas Stars.
Love it. Well, Ryan, we appreciate your time, man. Should be a fascinating kind of week here as we count down the hours, the minutes, and the seconds. And we thank you for your time. Enjoy Game 1. We'll talk sometime next week.
Yeah, it'll be a fun week, guys. Enjoy it. Great show. Thanks for having me on.
This is great.
Good to see you, Gager.
Hey, good to see you too, buddy. Good to see you too. I waiting for that invite to go play Torrey Pines.
Yeah. Well, the DMs, you guys can carry that on in the. I'm sure he'll send you the invite now. But that's Ryan Rishaug, TSN, and of course the Got Your Back Pod. Great podcast as well. And again, Penner's Pancakes congratulatory, and as we do, a gentleman's congratulations for the pod last night, taking you through late last night on the Oilers advancing, capturing Gager the Clarence S. Campbell Trophy, and putting that on the shelf, and now off to the other one.
Clarence S. Campbell Bowl is how it was referred to online.
The bowl. Well, but it's got a little tin at the top.
Yeah.
Like a bowl with me to be with a trophy without the hat.
I know.
Like that, 'cause that's a true bowl.
Yeah.
This is, but it's
weird. But,
okay, well.
Jeffrey Taylor says the Oilers lost all 4 games against Vancouver, which is true, Well,
it's funny. I think the Vancouver series, and Dusty made a mention, we don't need to talk about the regular. That's gone in the past.
Yeah. But what do you have to go on?
But that's it is what all you have to go on. And I know the Vancouver one, especially because it was pre-Knoblauch, it was very early days. These Oilers Panthers games, and I don't have it in front of me, but those, when were they? More earlier in the season? It escapes my mind as when
Isn't
those
it
two
early. Yeah.
But if it was later on, then it would be more relevant to the conversation.
I think like the goalies that the Oilers have gone up against. You look at the first series and Talbot and Flipper there.
Mm-hmm.
Not at their best. Obviously,
that wasn't really anything that scared you. Talbot had some good numbers, but
he had sometimes some moments that I was like, oh, maybe he's getting it going here. Didn't really materialize.
And Riddick was just a wild card.
Yeah,
that's just throwing.
He was.
So that's done. You slay that dragon, if you want to call it that.
Sheloff's was
that was an interesting
thing. Like, he was probably he was playing the best. He's probably
and you could see a
played.
storyline there, which we have seen in the past, where a goalie,
but still kind of broke him down too.
Yeah,
Ottinger, very technically sound,
almost like a final boss.
Yeah, well, this is where when last year when Aiden Hill went in, I was worried a little bit because of the way that either a Quick played or the Logan Thompson or it was Laurent Bossois, a little bit more movement.
Yep.
That the Oilers can kind of work around. It seems like their puck movement. Now with goalie Bob, he's a true hybrid of both, right? And I think
so. This is all the demons they've slayed. They're going to find like this.
Yeah,
big
this
boss
is
like
this is everything all together. But I think that bodes well for the Oilers. I think a structured, sound goalie. It's a little bit different. Although Bob is really, he's the ability to make unreal saves is there. You have to make sure that when it's an open net, there's still a chance, a stick, a leg, an arm. One of the best blockers in the NHL. I don't say that much about goalies, but his blocker is fantastic.
When I'll say this too, I think the Oilers and Draisaitl whiffed on a few. And this text flies in. Brent, the best example for me on how the depth shined versus Dallas, my bet on Draisaitl to score over 2.5 goals in the series didn't hit. And he very well could have.
Yeah.
They got the looks, but you mentioned you're going to have to cash in on those chances now when you get them.
Mm-hmm.
The Bobrosky thing is interesting because he is that goalie that's all the goalies together.
Yeah.
If you are looking at maybe a weakness for the Panthers, it might be the blue line. So how does, great goalie, but maybe a weaker blue. The Tanev injuries threw everything to the...
Yeah, he was that's a huge blow, and the fact that Miro had to play half an hour a game, he couldn't do it. Like he couldn't You watch Heiskanen in the regular season compared to he was just getting by at a time, and even on that last play, just trying to the icing. And he was just, oh my gosh, go to icing, and it never materialized, right? So.
Well, and again, we go back to that regular season V now, and I guess that's a good point to saying who cares?
Yeah.
And Rishaug brought it up with McDavid as well to my question, and his game changes. It's not you're looking for him to get 5 points against Sisters of the Poor. It's like this is tough. Every shift is tough,
and that's a mindset I think that helps Connor and Leon now more than anything with the fact that they don't have to think I got to go out there and score goals now.
Yeah.
We're gonna get contributions from everywhere else. I'm gonna let my teammates be the storyline. Not maybe let's a wrong word.
But they can.
I'm gonna control what I can control. I'm gonna do something really stupid and make everyone talk about my goal for the next week. Right?
And I remember I was sitting with you somewhere and Skinner came out to play a puck and you said don't. It was one game. He went out to play the puck at the boards of glass. And I think this goes with Skinner. It goes with Nurse. It goes with McDavid. You don't need to carry the team. All these guys have their roles. It's defined. It's clear. Knoblauch set that out. And it's not overthinking anything. Just go out there and do the simple stuff. And if everybody's doing that, if we all picked up a piece of litter, the earth would be a great, clean place. Well, we don't. But if you're doing all that, and it's fine. And it works. And it's not. And you try to work at something. You try to fix something. And you think, no, it's just. It's taking a step back and just assessing the situation, doing what you do, and nothing more.
Well, that's what Coach Knoblauch said. And he said the biggest thing coming in here, everyone was upset with their play, but they were trying to do too much.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I thought, man, I do feel bad for old Woody Woodcroft a little bit. Like it was. I wonder how. He says he never watches the Oilers. It'd be tough not to watch them now, I guess.
He's doing those gut biome Instagram videos. He popped up on my feed one day. He's like, "Hey, do you have problems with it?" I'm like, "Excuse me, Coach Woody,
Coach
Littlest
Woody.
Hobo, is that you?"
Oh,
But I guess he does have the chops. This has been a great show, and I want to thank everybody for joining in today. And we do have a few texts. Do you have some Stingers tickets we're going to give away here too in a minute? But of course, the texters always getting our backs. Those Panthers Oilers games, they were in the early days of Knoblauch that comes in from Propane Pimp. Donkey follows it up. Panthers was Knoblauch's 5th game. They actually played them really well, but didn't get the puck luck. So there's a little scouting report from Donkey. We thank you for that. Ball for Hayden coming after that text of the day for A&W, $20 on the line. Coffee was standing there refusing to take credit, like the shooters on the grassy knoll in Dallas. And yes, the JFK stuff continues. I love it. That plays in. Unsigned text, they played in November, December, lost both. November, they were still kind of sucking, and then lost just before the 16-game streak. So Panthers are going down, and Hampton Steve again. Both losses to Florida. Pickard started both games.
Oh.
Okay. Also, first game was before 6 o'clock or locker was launched, and the second was just before the win streak. So lots of caveats in that. And Deke Sparks finishes up with, as The Rock said, know your role. And I think he carried on with shut your mouth.
Yeah. RV situation with Kane, will he play next round? I don't know for sure.
To
but
the best of your...
Just watching that hit, it looked like just a little bit of a... That's where the athletic pubalgia is in that area. And it kind of, opened up a little bit. He'll be fine by Saturday.
Yeah.
Not
well, he's
100%.
Yeah.
He is what he is.
But again, rules.
Yeah.
He's not going to be... You're not going out there and logging minutes and having to... Maybe a hit here or there.
But then huge contribution in Game 5 with going in for the face-off, winning the draw, and going to Henrique and then back to Broberg for the goal. Like everyone's... I love the fact that there's just... Playoffs are always like this. Subtle little plays. Different times, different games, different scenarios where guys make a difference.
Yeah. I think Ball for Hayden will be getting the text of the day as we transition into the wrap. The text of the day, once again, $20 to A&W, so congratulations, Ball for Hayden. At this point, I'd like to have a text for Stingers tickets. We got a 4-pack to tomorrow night's game. Stingers and Vancouver Bandits, the 4-0 Stingers up against the 3-1 Vancouver Bandits in CEBL action. A little something to do this week as we await Game 1 Saturday between the Panthers and Oilers. So you can text in BZZ. Like a buzz, like a wasp or a bee, like a stinger, like a bzz. So it's texting bzz, like buzz. You can write BUZZ as well if you like, or just text in bzz however you want, and you'll go into the hat, and we'll pick one lucky bzz, and you'll be off to the Stingers game tomorrow. 4-pack of tickets free. 4-0 Stingers, 3-1 Vancouver Bandits tomorrow. And it is the wrap as I take my half-eaten Italians. This desk, I mean, Tommy would have a conniption. He would pass out. He would hit his head.
It's a working
terrible.
Desk, Tommy.
It is a working desk. Exactly. Yeah,
Jeez.
send that to Tommy right now. And we'll get him going on that. But the hangout this morning as well on location at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge as well. That's where Maddie and Milne will be doing the green and gold pre- and post-game shows throughout the CFL season for the Elks. But right now, if you want your place to look as good as ours, visit the team at WilliamHuff.com. In business since 72, so you know they are incredible at what they do, and we thank them for everything. They gave us the pom-poms, to which Gager and I, if you want to rewind the show and watch the opening 10 minutes, I flashed the audience, just like they're doing down at the games. But we had the pom-poms going, Gager and I, and it's all courtesy of our friends at William Huff. They've got the bannering. It's all around the rink. They got it going. So if you want to look to the pros and get your place looking as good as Rogers' place, head over to WilliamHuff.com. We also learned on the show today a few things as well, not having to do with the Stanley Cup playoffs, boys. I know Zach had it in his sports update. Justin Jefferson, they agree to a record deal. Jefferson and the Vikings. Esteban Ocon, I know this hit you hard.
Yeah.
Formula One. It is race week. Canadian Grand Prix on the way.
Can't wait.
Ocon, like midway through the season, it's just like he's going to leave now. And
there was talk of actually him not even racing this weekend because
what would they do? Just bring somebody?
Bring in one of their young drivers.
Would they ever just have one driver and leave the car in the garage?
No, they wouldn't do that. I don't
a lot of money on the line, eh?
But oh my gosh, 6:53, unreal.
We're at 6:53 legs. Bravo!
Unreal.
I've only mentioned it maybe once or twice or thrice.
Yeah.
I don't like being that guy, but
I've never been here for a 6.
You've only been guests on 1K shows.
Yeah.
We only like you when you're the guest.
Yeah.
6:52, 6:53. I love it. Okay, well, congratulations. Keep that going, everybody. As we said, this is for you. This ain't for the media, the meat. Certainly for the players. I mean, they're the ones getting paid and doing it, and they get their names on the cup. We all know that. But this is for you. This is for the years, and as I mentioned, the cold nights, the rough post games, the rough pre games, the driving to the rink, the paying of the money, the renewal of the season tickets, the jacked up and the price increases, inflation, this, that, and the other.
We were talking about the EST year in review. It'll be kind of neat to look at that with what's gone on this year. Oilers, Elks, the wieners that I sell, everything from hangouts. I can't wait to see the behind the scenes.
Once we get that Pelican costume too, that'll be mark its own. We'll need more tape for that.
6 o'clock a lager. That's an episode in itself.
The Jonas Brothers as well announced this morning as Grey Cup 111 halftime entertainment out in Vancouver, as the Elks and Riders game has been shifted Saturday, 2 o'clock kickoff. as they observe Game 1 puck drop between the Oilers and Panthers. It's probably going to do it. I'll assume the boys are all set up and ready to go down at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. Matt Iwanek and the crew down there. Great place. So keep it locked here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Hey, Zach.
Hey, I have one question. Did we mention Great Outdoors?
Boom. You're on the ball as always. I told you to text in Buzz for the Stingers tickets. Now it's the Great Outdoors Comedy Fest. And we do still have some tickets on the line for that, or to get in, actually, your way. We're still qualifying for the VIP of 4 to Kevin Hart. We'll be giving that away on June 14th. So actually, text in Hart right now, H-A-R-T, if you want to get into that, and we'll qualify a lucky texter. Hart, H-A-R-T, text it in, Paris Drewler's inbox, 780-218-9999. Bzz for the Stingers tickets. Hart for the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival tickets. Text in Hart 780-218-9999. That's it, right? We did it all the sheets. Man, oh man, look, one more flashing. Well, look at that. Yeah, we're not fighting here. We're flashing you. No bashing, more flashing, right? That's the advice this morning. I want to thank Joaquin Gage for joining. Always appreciative of his time, waking up at this god-awful hour to come in. But hey, the Bruins are up and singing. It's sunny now.
No,
we have June playoff hockey.
Yeah, this is crazy. It goes a little long, but I guess I always thought it goes a little long, but now that I'm in it.
Now that you're in it,
it's not that bad.
Don't even need to wear leather at this time of the year, right? For Joaquin Gage, Zatkim, who is on fire this morning behind the monitors, doing a little bit of everything on the show. We appreciate his help as well. So, and for Dustin Nielsen out in the BC interior somewhere, enjoy it. Enjoy today once again. Hangout coming up next with Matt Iwanek. Lock Shop still to come as well throughout the day. So keep it locked here on EST, and we will talk to you tomorrow. Have a great Monday afternoon.